Hey everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show to tell you a little bit about Shutterfly. If you're like us, you take a lot of pictures because you have a camera right in your hand all the time. How would you not take a lot of pictures? And we're taking all these pictures, more than we've ever taken in the history of the world.
What are you going to do with them all?
That's the thing. You used to get a solid picture, and then you'd look through them, and you could enjoy them. Now they're like back on your camera roll. You can't even find them. You don't want that. That's why the cool thing you need to do, and what I did, and I think it's pretty cool, is create a Shutterfly photo book.
Oh.
What I did, and you're going to enjoy this, Jimmy, because I haven't showed this to you yet, but took all of our pictures from being on tour this year.
Oh.
All live show pictures, us backstage, us on stage, doing all that stuff, and like some of the, just the venues and things, and made a little photo book out of that. Also, they have free 24-hour designer service as well. With their 24-hour designer service, a professional designer is going to lay out the book for you for free in just a day. Make something that means something with Shutterfly. Enjoy 40% off orders over $29 with promo code SMALLTOWN. See site for promotional details.
And now back to the show.
Hey everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show to get you styled up with Stitch Fix. Shopping's hard. It's hard. With Stitch Fix, you get a stylist, though, who understands your style, your size, your budget, and they do all the shopping for you.
Wow.
This is excellent. Shopping, I'm telling you, shopping and figure out your style, it's overwhelming. Let somebody help you when it comes to getting dressed. We don't know what we're doing, so we let Stitch Fix help us out. A Stitch Fix stylist there. They know what works on us. We get the prices that make us look really good, and it feels good. You get some confidence boost walking around knowing that you're looking decent here.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we just give the stylist our sizes, style, budget preferences. We order boxes when we want, how we want, no subscription or any of that required. And they send called Just For Me pieces as well. Like, maybe you'd like this, and it's awesome. Outfit recommendations, styling tips. You keep what you love, you send back the rest. It's super easy.
Yep.
You can do it, and we are doing it because it's excellent. Personal styling for everyone. Get started today at stitchfix.com/STM. That's stitchfix.com/STM.
Now back to the show.
This message comes from Greenlight. Ready to start talking to your kids about financial literacy? Meet Greenlight, the debit card and money app that teaches kids and teens how to earn, save, spend wisely, and invest with your guardrails in place. With Greenlight, you can send money to kids quickly, set up chores, automate allowance, and keep an eye on your kids' spending with real-time notifications. Join millions of parents and kids building healthy financial habits together on Greenlight. Get started risk-free at greenlight.com/Wondery.
This week in Salem, Massachusetts, when a local woman goes missing, local police consult the rest of the locals, including the local witch and the local pervert. Welcome to Small Town Murder. Hello and welcome to Small Town Murder.
Yeah!
Oh, yay indeed, Jimmy. Yay indeed. My name is James Pietragallo. I'm here with my co-host.
I am Jimmy Whisman.
Thank you, folks, so much for joining us again on another wild, crazy edition of Small Town Murder. It's been crazy lately, and it's not going to stop today because this is one of the just a weird, interesting case we have today. As we're in Massachusetts, and Massachusetts doesn't let us down, as we'll get to in a second here, because our last episode of Massachusetts was absolutely bonkers.
I don't remember it.
Oh, you will in a minute when I get to it. But yeah, thank you guys for listening. Quickly, we'll go through the top little house cleaning here. First of all, thank you for your reviews. Apple Podcasts, purple icon. Please give us 5 stars. Doesn't matter what you say. Say you're following instructions or your directions. These guys want me to do this. Right. It's dark in here. Help me. It doesn't matter what you say, but it helps a lot. Helps drive us up the charts. We don't understand why.
It's a load of work.
We don't know why. That's it. Go to shutupandgivememurder.com for all of your small town murder needs. So much new merch up there.
Yeah.
It's really cool stuff. Awesome designs coming out all the time. Also, all of your crime and sports needs. Listen to the Crime and Sports podcast if you have not. You do not have to like sports. Trust me. You absolutely do not. It's just a huge pile of crazy. Listen to any of the last. Just listen to any of them. It's a pile of crazy, and you'll enjoy it. If you like this, you'll like that.
Yeah.
We're pretty sure of that. And get all your tickets for live shows, of course. Denver and Salt Lake on the 7th and 8th of February are sold out, but February 15th and 16th, we're in Indianapolis and Louisville.
Yeah.
Get your tickets right now. March 13th, March 14th in San Francisco. Late shows, too.
Yeah.
Those are going to be fun.
It's going to be great.
Come out and party at 10 o'clock at night with us. That's going to be fun shit.
San Francisco.
Yeah, man. Come on. It's a murder at night.
The weather's
That's
so
fun.
nice.
We can't wait. So come out and see us then, and all the way down, check the schedule. There's all sorts of stuff over there at shutupandgivememurder.com.
Right.
If you want to be a hero to the show, one of our producers, that's also possible. Very easy, and we're going to gush about these people at the end of the show. Just go over to patreon.com/crimeandsports or head over to PayPal and use our email address, crimeandsports@gmail.com, and you can make that donation there. And good God, is everything appreciated. And I believe next week we're going to put out another Patreon episode. So yeah, we're going to keep those coming, Patreon episodes with weird stories that are kind of maybe not long enough for the regular show, but weird enough that we need to show them to you.
Sure.
So do that, check all that out. And before we get into this crazy story, have to do the disclaimer quickly. This is a comedy show. Yeah. It's a comedy podcast. Yeah, that's it. We're comedians. The story's real. We promise you that. There's nothing fake in there.
No.
We're not enhancing it to make it funny. Like, wouldn't it be great if he said this? That doesn't happen at all. It's all real stuff.
Yeah.
And we make jokes about it. That's the thing here. There's also murder.
Yeah.
But murder is a small part of a murder story.
Yeah.
That's the thing. An actual murder. There's a lot of crazy that goes around a story.
Yeah.
Especially in a small town. We've had stories where the mayor comes to the murder scene and just traipsing around, making footprints in the blood puddles, and the cops are too scared to tell him not to. Like, that's the type of stuff that goes on.
Right.
So if you can't make jokes about that, I don't know what in the world is funny.
Yeah.
So that's what we're saying. We go out of our way not to make fun of the victims or the victims' families.
Why would we do that?
Because we're assholes. But we're not scumbags,
Now you're
Jimmy. That's what we're talking about here. So if that sounds good to you, we're going to have a good time. If you think that true crime and comedy and murder and stuff should never go together, just there's no laughs in it.
Yeah.
Someone died, and and it is terrible.
That's
but
fair.
there's also funny stuff.
Yeah.
And, so if you don't like that, then you probably shouldn't listen to the show.
Please don't.
Because you're going to complain later, and then we're going to tell you, we told you not to listen.
I don't want to hear it.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So you should go away. But the rest of you... Whoever's left should stay put.
Yeah.
And you should sit back and get ready to have a good time and shout, shut up and give me murder. Let's do this, Jimmy.
All right.
Let's go on a trip, shall we? Let's do this. We're coming from the south.
We are.
We're coming from North Carolina last week.
Nice.
It was nice down there. It wasn't bad. The story wasn't nice.
Sounded great.
The town
sounded very affordable.
It sounded very affordable, whereas the murder itself was not good at all. But today we're heading up north to the northeast. We're heading to Salem, Massachusetts.
All right.
That Salem of witch fame.
Yeah.
This has nothing to do with witches,
no.
although there is a witch in the story.
Of course
there is, obviously, because why wouldn't there be?
Weirdo.
It's small town murder, and it's going to be weird. We'll just put it that way. It's in northeastern Massachusetts, the far kind of northeastern tip, out in the northeastern Massachusetts panhandle.
Right.
This is some panhandle shit right here. I'm sorry, guys. This is a weird little enclave too of it's like a wealthy area.
Yeah.
That we'll talk about it. It's about 35 minutes over to Boston, or down to Boston, I should say. About an hour 20 to Providence, Rhode Island from there, and about an hour over to Marshfield, Massachusetts, which was our last Massachusetts episode 116. It was Pocket Robin, Jimmy.
Oh, Jesus,
it was the Vampire Pyramid Scheme.
That was the last one?
That was the last Massachusetts Vampire Pyramid Scheme. If you have not heard that episode, please, we implore you, go back and listen to that.
To James sing.
It is absolutely insane. It's a schizophrenic vampire. He's a nutcase, obviously.
Wild.
It's crazy. So this episode, though, it's right in line with Massachusetts.
Okay.
This is in Essex County. It's 18 square miles, this town, but 10 of those square miles are on water.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of, because there's islands. So they'll own...
It's a wild area of the country.
It's part of the town. Water's part of the town because there's an island out in the middle of it that's also
beautiful.
Part of the town.
It's just fucking creepy.
Oh, it's gorgeous. Yeah, it's interesting. It's all... I mean, I get that Stephen King stories all took place in Maine.
Yeah.
But this is not far from Maine.
It may as well be.
This is what I mean.
Yeah.
This is like urban Maine almost.
Just down the beach.
It's just down the road. Same weirdness.
Yeah.
It's all attached to that coast there. So the motto of this place is still making history.
Really? That's what they say?
Still making history.
That's not a positive thing.
Or we don't burn women anymore, so that's positive.
That's my point. Just still how about no?
How about
we stopped?
We apologize for our history. It's not been good.
We're
going to
calm down on the history.
Yeah. Hey, everybody, we have other history. We have Revolutionary War stuff.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
That's what we'll concentrate on.
Nobody in the world knows anything else about anything you've done except
Salem.
for...
Oh, the witches? The witches? It's everybody.
Well, they torched broads, right?
Yeah, that's the one. Okay, yeah, it's the place. So
they lit bitches on fire, right?
That's what it was. Yeah, that's what they did, right? They lit bitches on fire. Yeah, that's the place. So yeah, it's not good. Let's keep that history.
Yeah, let's tuck it away.
Let's tuck that away we'll talk about it for a second. But colonists got here in 1626 in this area. It was basically fishermen because it sticks out in the ocean. This area here. They arrived, led by a man named Roger Conant, and remember that name because he'll come up again. Actually, in the story, that last name will come up. His leadership here, he led over the first couple years when they first got there, and then Jean Endicott replaced him by order of the Massachusetts Bay Company. Oh, so when they give an order. Yeah. You listen.
There's a Bay Company.
There's a Bay. Well, back then it was a 400-year-old company, but he stepped aside and granted 200 acres of land, and was granted 200 acres of land in compensation for stepping aside gracefully, being a cool dude about the whole thing. Yeah. You're like, hey, Conant's an all right guy.
There's places you can relax.
He could have fought it. He could have fought it. You know, he went quietly, like Nixon or something. Just went away.
Well, you had 200 acres for his troubles.
That's it, So these people, everybody kind of cooperated based on that, because there were some people that were in the Conant camp and some people in the Endicott camp, and they got together because the leaders worked out a nice resolution here. It's been good. So the name of the settlement in honor of this agreement was changed to Salem, which is kind of a dirty form. It's a bastardized version of the Hebrew word for peace. Oh, so that's why they named it that. Yeah. Obviously, there's the witches thing here, so we got to go through that very, very quickly.
There's plenty of podcasts you can go listen to.
You can listen to all about witches here, but the main deal with the witches, it started with a woman named Abigail Adams and one named Betty Paris, and their friends. They were playing with a Venus glass mirror and an egg. Mm-hmm. That was the thing. And so they said, well, we need to...
Clearly, they're witches.
Clearly, they should die for this. Imagine if there was a Ouija board around back then. Holy shit, they'd have killed every kid in town.
Can you imagine
every kid burned?
Can you imagine getting 5 people on board with 100% believing that somebody's an actual witch?
Oh, yeah.
5 people? Can you do that?
I don't think that
I couldn't
they did.
do it.
I don't think that they did. I think they were like, we don't... That was their way of of dealing with women who they felt were a pain in the ass back then. I feel like I'm not even fucking joking.
Well,
I know that's been the joke, sketches, comedy sketches, but I really feel like that's what it was. I feel like if they didn't like somebody, it was like they didn't believe there was witchcraft. Come on, man.
Are you sure?
You know what? Maybe they do, because there's people now that still believe in the devil and shit. So, I mean, people do believe in and back then people were really primitive.
They were really
1600s,
crazy back then.
So, but
they'd take anything and run with it.
19 people were executed.
Get the fuck out.
19 people were executed here as a result of false accusations. And, it's...
That's a lot.
It's a lot of fucking people, man. It's absolutely crazy. It's also the significant thing here. There was a trial of Dorothy Talby, who was a mentally ill woman who was hanged for murdering her daughter, because back then Massachusetts made no distinction between crazy people, between criminal insanity and or just insanity and criminal behavior. So they just were like, yeah, you're guilty, and it was like a really like a real
legit,
not like somebody going for a loophole. Somebody who was like, Jesus Christ, she's wearing her underwear on her head.
She can't even write her name, and we're going to do this?
I don't even
Really?
know where she is.
She can't sign her own death warrant.
It's not good here. So in 1775, February 26th, local patriots, people who are here, wanted to rebel against the British, raised a drawbridge at the North River and prevented British Colonel Alexander Leslie and his 300 troops from seizing stores and ammunition that were hidden in North Salem. So
goddamn heroes.
Yeah, they protected that, and they ended up coming to that ended up quelling a war for that day, but then it broke out later on, obviously. Yeah. So
once we get around this canyon.
Yeah, that's the thing here. A group of, I guess, merchants here in Salem published a statement. Basically, they were kind of supportive of the monarchy of the British before that, and then they released a statement saying, you know what, fuck them.
Yeah,
we decided no. This is our spot now.
We see that we can fight back, so we'll go with this course.
We're going to try that.
Yeah.
In August of 2010, the governor of Massachusetts designated. They said, "quote It was an act designating the city of Salem as the birthplace of the National Guard." As apparently it was, because that was approved by the House of Representatives and then signed into law by Barack Obama in 2013. So it's the birthplace of the National Guard, Salem, Massachusetts, which makes sense. Because it's the farthest kind of east place hanging out there, where if you were sailing over, that's where you would land if you knew where you were going and wanted to attack.
Seems like
things.
A nautical place to start.
It's a good, I know Boston might have more, more walls and barricades and cannons and shit. You'd figure that would be heavily barricaded. Right. I found reviews of this place here. Now, a lot of the reviews are nice because it's a quaint town, but there are also a lot of reviews from tourists.
Okay.
This is a heavy tourism area. It really is. It's super big.
Especially at Halloween.
Oh, I can imagine.
Jesus
it's got to be a
Christ,
nightmare.
It's insane.
It's got to be a nightmare there at Halloween. So here's one. Here's a 1-star review.
Okay.
And this is from a lifelong resident, as they'll say, of many decades. Let's talk about it. Quote, "It's disgusting how Salem has declined for its residents."
Oh, boy.
If disgusting is in the first,
it's
the second word of your review. "My husband and myself have lived here for 70 plus years."
Okay.
So first of all, anywhere you live in 70 years, it's going to change.
Yeah.
Like, you can't expect it. It's exactly the same as 70 years ago.
And an elderly person with an opinion, I can't wait to hear this.
You know it.
Yeah.
You cannot move without backed up traffic. There you go. Roads are so neglected, no smooth riding, no free open space except a couple, and even those, it's hard to park.
Okay.
God forbid. Well, you know what? Trade in the 83 Buick for something a little smaller, maybe.
Get out of a Packard, Grandma.
Yeah, that's the thing. She's driving her Tucker, and it's very straight.
A Belvedere down the street. Jesus. There's better technology, Grandma.
Grandma, back the DeSoto in first. Take the Studebaker out of reverse before you try to
give the Hudson a push.
Yeah, just a push.
The battery's dead.
Jesus Christ!
I'll pop the clutch.
So it's hard to park. Then ellipses after that, and then it's a direct message to the mayor.
Yeah,
Mayor, you have brought in too many buildings for business and housing. Too unsafe for kids now. Are they collapsing? What? Are the buildings collapsing on the kids? We are getting out of town for good. Can't live here. You're 90. You've lived. What are you? Were you going?
Born there and you're in your 70s? Or are you from somewhere else and you're much older? What's the difference? Where do you gotta go?
We're getting out of town for good. Can't live here anymore. Sold our 2 houses and moving so we can breathe and enjoy what the earth used to be.
Wow.
Okay. Salem is way overcrowded for the land it's on. Then all capitals this sentence, the last one. Look around, Mayor. This city is not for us residents and is only for tourists! Exclamation point. So, yeah.
Move to New Mexico, Grandma.
Wow, there's plenty of space there.
See what you think about that.
Nobody wants it,
right.
That's why.
See what you think about all that open space.
It's so weird that when you get places that are gathered around, like, ocean, they're crowded.
It's bizarre.
People like to be there.
Right.
I've noticed that about, like, San Francisco.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, it's beautiful, all these hills and ocean. Why are all these people here? I wonder. Strange, right? Isn't that odd? Beautiful places people like to be. Isn't that weird?
That old lady better never go down the Cape, because that shit is insane now. There's no land. It's all houses.
Well, it is.
And that's the thing. Because it's nice.
Because it's nice. People want to be there. That's the point. Jesus Christ. People go, San Diego's so crowded. Is it really?
Really?
We're 79 degrees year-round and sunny right by an ocean. I can't imagine why there'd be people there. Weird.
In July, grab a margarita and try to blend in. It's awesome.
It's odd that Milwaukee isn't quite as crowded, isn't it? Because you'd expect that. Isn't that strange? In December, way more people in San Diego than Milwaukee. Isn't that a weird thing? I'm shocked by it. I'm surprised Baltimore isn't better. It's like, no. So,
the reason that Las Cruces is not a destination.
Yeah. Jesus Christ. So I found a 2-star review also. Yeah. So it's, they're a little easing up on it. That was just all hatred, the last one. Yeah. Vitriol.
She's pissed,
this one. And then her husband's like, yeah, we're very upset. She goes, right, Roger? And he goes, yeah, that's fine. Yeah. Are we watching this? He doesn't care. Quote, Salem is a diverse, booming city and a very popular tourist destination. There are countless restaurants, shops, museums, and more, which draw people in from around the world. As great as this is for the city's economy and culture, the expanding catering toward tourists rather than residents is beginning to squeeze out some of the less fortunate citizens, and we'll talk about that quickly. Many commodities in the city have simply become too expensive for many citizens, so I believe the focus needs to return to the citizens, not the moneymakers. Good luck. Yeah, that's like saying the news needs to return to facts and not clickbait. Well, that would be great, but unfortunately, money exists.
Right.
So
we've made that more monetarily gainful than fucking facts. So
we're fucked. Sorry.
Run with the tourism, lady. Just embrace it during tourism season. Nobody's going there in January. Just enjoy yourself.
Yeah. Now, people in this town, it's a little above our normal, but it's small and it's weird and it's perfect. Right now it's 43,146, which is up. It was about 38,000 when this case happened in about 1991. All the ages are pretty average, about 37, 38. 55% female, so way more females than males, which is odd for
witches.
That's what it is. Maybe that's what I don't know.
Witches.
Less married people, more single people. A good amount of the 25 to 34-year-old demographic there, so that will account for the single people. Race of this town, 72% white, so not as white as some. 4.9% black, 2.5% Asian, but 17% Hispanic. Actually, exactly the national average on Hispanic, 17.6%. Interesting. 57.7% of the people here are religious.
Yeah.
Now I don't know if
what?
Yes. Now I don't know if witchcraft counts. I don't even get a witchcraft or like if you're Wiccan or whatever. I don't want to cross the streams on these. I'm not going to get into that shit, but
on the dark arts.
But I don't know if the dark arts are involved, but 48% are Catholic because Catholics are the Baptists of the North, and especially here. Otherwise, 1.2% Jewish.
Hey,
Hava, Nagila,
Nagila. James doesn't know the words.
Hey. So happy. It's been a while.
Yeah.
Yay. Yeah. There we go. In this county is a kind of a Democratic county, as most of Massachusetts is. About 58% voted Democrat in the last election, 35% Republican, about 7% independent. I don't know if there was a witch running.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was, somebody was one of the
just write-ins.
They had write-ins for like some weird thing. I don't fucking know. Unemployment rate here is super low.
Writing in the good witch of the East.
That's it. Yeah, I like her.
She seemed nice. She was smiling.
Glenda.
Yeah.
Glinda, whatever the fuck her name was.
I think it was Glinda.
Glinda.
Yeah.
There we go. They'll know who I'm talking about. Right? They know, right?
Everybody gets it.
We get it.
Yeah.
The unemployment rate here is 3%, which is excessively low. Mm-hmm. That's ridiculous. Super low, lower than the national average. Median household income here is a little bit higher than the national average. Usually it's about $57,000. Here it's $65,528. Yeah. It's a little bit up, but more people make under $30,000 here too.
Really?
Yeah, and then there's more people that make in like the $60,000 to $100,000 range, so it kind of balances out at about 65.
Lots of boutique owners, I imagine.
Yeah, cost of living here too. 100 is average, regular, par. Here it is 123, and most of that is housing.
Yeah.
Housing's a 168,
of course,
and it's housing is pricey. Median home cost here $389,000. So yeah, that's when they're saying it's squeezing squeezing out the lower. If you make 45 grand a year,
you can't buy a house.
No, $400,000 house is out of the question. Right. So that's very difficult. You're going to end up with people who have to live in the outskirts and drive in, or they'll live in 2-bedroom apartments.
If you don't have some source of large income, why the fuck are you in New England? That shit is expensive.
A lot of times
anyway.
you're from there.
Yeah,
that's the thing. Like I know people who are from New York, and they still live there. And I'm like,
waiting on your parents to die so you can buy a house.
That's what I think it is.
Crazy.
It's either that, or they're just like, where do you go if you're just stuck there? That's all you know. You get a job, and then you get another job, and you just work, and you get an apartment, and you do drywall and shit. And I know tons of people like that.
Oh my
east.
God,
it's depressing.
What a struggle, man. And then you put up with that shit winter for
That's
that.
what I mean. Every time I go back there, I have a hard time. I meet with people, and I'm like, how do you live here?
Why do you do this?
I will hang out with people for 20 minutes, and we'll be talking, and it'll just be like any lull in the conversation. I'll just be like, how do you fucking seriously, dude? How do you fucking live here? And they're like, Jesus Christ, I don't know. It's I don't know. It's all right. And you're like, no, dude.
If you get out of here, you'll see it's not all right.
It overwhelms people. They're like, really? Shit, what am I doing? Like, they're freaked out by it.
Everything
I'm
wrong?
telling you, you're doing it all wrong, man. Fucking it up.
You have an inspection sticker on your car. Stop this.
Stop it. That you bribed somebody to get. You didn't even get it inspected.
That's not even legal.
Yeah, just because you know a guy. You know too many people. Leave. Can you go to the mall without seeing 8 people you know? That's bad. That means you need to leave. Jesus
Without
Christ.
seeing 8 people that you don't even like anymore.
Yeah,
It's not even that you just know them. You don't even enjoy them.
Went to high school with that guy.
There he is.
Well, anyway, if this is for you, we've convinced you. We have for you. You want it. We have for you the Salem, Massachusetts Real Estate Report. Your average 2-bedroom rental here is about $1,620, which is pricey. That's a pricey rental for a 2-bedroom. Yeah, and then a 2-bedroom, 1-bath. I found a house here. It's 1,040 square feet, and it's fucked up. It is. It's the only way to put it. It's fucked up. There's vinyl siding ripped off in big spots with just exposed wood. It's bad. $174,900.
Wow.
So I mean that's as cheap as you're going to get.
$180,000 for a piece of shit.
1,000 square feet with vinyl ripped off it.
With black stray cats everywhere.
Bad. Oh, it's bad. Yeah, running back and forth. 2-bedroom, 2-bath. I found 1,060 square feet. So it's kind of like the same house, but livable.
Okay.
Put together and nice, and there's nothing hanging off it or no missing pieces. $349,900 though, if you're going to pay for that. So, then I found one that, and it's not even that great, man. 6-bedroom, 4-bath, 2,681 square feet, but it's run down. It's kind of not wonderful. $799,000. Wow. So it's not even that big.
With
it's big, but not. It's 2,600 square feet, but I mean, it's not like it's normally 800,000. We're in the
5,000 square foot home range.
6,000 square feet, some big mansion, but I don't know. Things to do here now. I found the Haunted Happenings Grand Parade. Yeah. They're really going to embrace this shit a lot. Thing. Yeah, it's the Salem Chamber Haunted Happenings Grand Parade. They do it in the beginning of October for some reason, maybe for warmth. It gets cold.
Also because there's so much going on.
Oh,
they probably just had to get a date that was free. Yeah.
They got bumped. It's in July. It's the 4th of July, Thanksgiving, Halloween parade, everybody. Come on down. Jesus Christ.
There's just so much they do in October.
Yeah. The theme last year for the parade was "It's Our Future," and the excitement, the participation, and the incredible ideas of Salem's elementary school students were essential in keeping the
elementary school
going.
Ideas.
Yeah, they're happy to begin a new feature on the parade route, a sensory-friendly area, which is no loud music and sirens and flashing lights and shit like that.
What?
It's for autistic kids. Oh. It's if your kid,
Oh, I got it. Okay.
I
was like, that takes all the fun out of it.
Yeah. Not for
all the loud noises and cool flashing lights.
When my son was young, that would have been, geez, he would have wanted to be down there, because otherwise he'd have just covered his ears. And now he's okay. Yeah, by now he's okay, but like back then, like he didn't like fireworks or anything like that. It would scare him, so not good. So the parade will finish finish last year with a party at the Salem Common with DJ Doug.
He just got a name.
Entertain the crowd. Sounds like somebody's dad.
Yeah.
I'm DJ Doug, everybody. How's it going? I'm DJ Dad. He was going to say dad, but he was like, Doug.
Yeah, I'm Doug.
Doug.
Who am I fooling?
Yeah, thank you. So that that was lame.
Didn't even think of anything good. It just
he's playing like Who Let the Dogs Out. He's like, come on, kids. What? This is good, right?
Although DJ Lance from Yo Gabba Gabba, I'd hang out with that fucking guy.
Yeah, that's
that
different.
Guy's awesome.
That's different.
Yeah.
I don't think DJ Doug looks like DJ Lance.
No,
DJ Lance looks like a cool mother.
Right.
Yeah. This is like a blonde guy with like Michael Chiklis hair before he shaved it. He's got commish hair, not shield
the
hair.
Sprigs?
Yeah, not shield hair. Not I'm tough now hair.
That poor fucking guy.
Yeah.
I'll never forget the day
he just shaved his head. And he's like, I'm tough. Look at me. I put a leather jacket on. I shaved my head. I'm not a fat bitch anymore. That's what he was. They don't make fun of my tits no more now.
Fat bitch.
That's what people called him.
Right, but he's still a fat bitch.
Yeah. And bitch, we don't mean woman at all.
No, we mean Michael Chiklis.
In a male sense of he's a
phony tough guy.
That's what I'm saying right there. So.
We've seen your hair, Michael.
Yeah, I remember that episode of Seinfeld. Pathetic. So
my hair's still better.
Yeah,
even when I grow it, so much better.
Your hair.
This is fucked up.
You are like Johnny Depp compared to a 1991 Michael Chiklis. So now if he tried to not shave it, he wouldn't. No hair would grow at all. It'd be like alopecia.
It's depressing.
So crime rate in this town, what we're interested in here. Property crime is just above average, which happens when you get tourism and you get a lot of that.
Yeah.
A lot of cars getting broken into and shit. A couple of local crackheads can drive up the crime rate a lot. And then violent crime, murder, rape, robbery, and of course assaults. Yeah. Don't forget that one. The Mount Rushmore of crime is about 10% low.
Okay.
So that's a little bit low. They're not killing each other so much in this town.
Not so much.
Not so much. It's still close.
Yeah.
Still close
still
to the average.
High.
A little high. Yeah. A little bit. Speaking of murder, guess what we have?
Oh boy.
A murder.
Yes.
Right, let's talk about it, shall we? Because it's a crazy one. Okay. Let's do this. For this murder, we are going to have to go back in time a little bit. Not too far.
Okay.
About 29 years or so.
Yeah.
We're going to go back. We're going to go back to 1991.
Got it.
I don't know why. We end up with a lot of cases in 1991 for some reason.
Yeah.
Have you noticed that?
91 was a rough year in this country.
Everyone just killing each other in very interesting ways that are, good for comedy fodder. It's a weird. It's just strange that they all stand out.
That's around the time that Lorena Bobbitt was whacking dicks.
It was like 94.
Yeah.
I think maybe, I don't know. I know the media was focusing, but these aren't even media. Most of the cases I find aren't really,
maybe
it
was a population boom. There was a lot of people, and a lot of people were convinced they could get away with murder.
Yes.
Today, you don't think you can get away with it, right?
Not as much. Well, people now, there's like DNA, and then people are like, oh, shit, if I touch that forever, they'll be able to find it.
You got a digital leash on you at all times.
That's the other thing. You have your phone, which is clocking you everywhere you go. So back then, it wasn't. Back then, you could just you could actually disappear in 1991, and nobody would know where you were.
I'm sure that list of people from 91 that have disappeared and never been found is longer than a lot of other years.
There's so many people out there, by the way, that you don't hear about that are murdered. It's not even. I'm reading one case that I looked at for this week out of Massachusetts that decided not to do because it was too much.
Really,
it was too much.
Too much in the graphicness.
It was too much, man.
Okay.
There was kids involved.
Oh God, Jesus!
And it was just too much. And I'm like, no, this is. There was crazy stuff in it for humor, but it just wasn't. The whole case was like it just. I don't like it.
It's not our jam.
Not our jam, basically. But it was so crazy to hear how one guy he had killed a ton of kids, and I don't know about weight wise, but just a lot of kids, a lot of children, and he was telling people like, oh, this one from that state, and this one from this state, and this one. He would bring up names from all of these states all over. Yeah. These were kids that were missing over the last 10 years that no one knew where they were, and they had all. This guy had all got. It's just crazy.
He got them all.
To know about that, and you don't hear about any of this stuff. I mean, you only hear about about John Benet Ramsey.
You
don't
hear
hear
the
about all the
salacious one.
Yeah.
You hear the one that she's an adorable girl who the parents put her in fucking
pageants. That's it. Yeah, look at the pictures of her in her cowboy outfit.
Why would somebody murder this girl?
That's it. Whereas the kids are kids, and they should all. I don't know. It's just crazy.
Still a person.
But
God damn it.
Let's talk about 1991, July 12th, 1991.
Yeah.
Think about this, okay? One thing I love: the Northeast in like around that 4th of July time, and if you don't get a heat wave where it's disgusting and humid, is fucking awesome.
Yeah,
it's beautiful. There's leaves on the trees. If you're by the water, There's like a breeze and it's crisp and it's nice. It's where you want to be in the summertime. So July 12th, 91 in Salem. And this is in an area called Salem Willows. Okay. It's a very particular area. It's a close-knit neighborhood. It's an oceanfront neighborhood.
Got it.
So these are pretty affluent people that live here.
They've been there a minute.
They've been there a minute, or they're some old money, but just professionals and things like that. It's a kind of an upper middle class. It's not a real. There's parts that are real wealthy, but it's not like it's not all $1 million, $2 million houses, but it's it's a nice neighborhood here.
Hey everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show to tell you about the safest sponsor ever, Simply Safe. Absolutely, these people will keep you safe. It's amazing. You know that every 26 seconds a burglary takes place in the United States, according to the FBI. That means that by the time this podcast is over, dozens and dozens of homes will have been targeted, ransacked, God knows what happens here. So protect your home before it's too late with Simply Safe proactive security system. Simply Safe helps stop threats before they even have a chance to break in. Named Best Home Security System by U.S. News and World Report 5 years in a row. And by us for about the last 8 years as well. If you trust us, believe me, you want Simply Safe. So visit simplysafe.com/small to claim 50% off a new system with professional monitoring plan and your first month free. That's simplysafe.com/small. There's no safe like Simply Safe.
Now back to the show.
This show, Small Town Murder, is brought to you by BetterHelp. Get yourself some therapy, everybody. Honestly, here. We often hear about, red flags that you should avoid. Hey, that's a lot of a thing. It's become a real phrase now, real cliche. But why don't you focus also, you look at like green flags in friends and partners. Look for good things as well. Right. And maybe you're not sure what that looks like, though. Therapy can help you figure that out. What are positive things? What are the green flags? And then you can practice them in your relationship. It's absolutely a fact. And so, honestly, we absolutely are huge advocates for this. It really, really helps. BetterHelp is fully online, making therapy affordable. It's convenient. They serve over 5 million people worldwide. You can access a diverse network of more than 30,000 credentialed therapists, wide ranges of specialties there. Here's the coolest part. You're not getting along with your therapist, you're just not feeling it, you can switch at any time, no extra charge.
Wow.
The thing is, they want you to get help. That's it. And you can do it with BetterHelp. Discover your relationship green flags with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/smalltownmurder today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/smalltownmurder.
Now back to the show.
And also there's an amusement park there and all that. It's
in the neighborhood?
Yeah, there's so the tourists come there by the water. There's one. It's apparently there's a bunch of European white willow trees planted there in 1801. Okay. That's why it's called Salem Willows. They built it as a shaded walk for patients at a nearby smallpox hospital.
Good Lord.
Yeah, that's how most beautiful things in the Northeast were built for people with smallpox.
Terminal people.
It's so weird. Not terminal, but they would have like the recovery centers and things like that. Like up in the Catskills, there's a ton of like places that are
smallpox retreats.
Yeah, bed and breakfast now that were big like for different diseases, tuberculosis, TB retreats, and smallpox. It's fucking weird, man. That's what they built them for.
Yeah.
So this was kind of that sort of thing, and then it became a public park in 1858 when the whole thing died down a little bit. And it became a big destination for people who live in Boston in the summer to go to the amusement park and all that shit. It became their kind of Coney Island, I guess you could call it. And it's a little cooler there too, away from the city, that sort of thing. A lot of restaurants, seafoods.
Yeah.
Shit like that.
And it's not the Cape, so it's not near as expensive. Like the Cape is crazy expensive.
Well, yeah, because that's just.
But Salem's just.
You're hitting everybody at the Cape. You're hitting European immigrants over there. You're hammering them hard
for $9 for a can of beer.
Getting them back for that euro exchange rate. Take that, Sven. I paid $8 for a Coke in Sweden last year. Eat dicks. I didn't because I've never been to Europe, but someone did. Yeah, someone did. Listen, Lars, we're going to have a conversation, pal. Listen to me, Gunter. Me and you are going to fucking discuss this exchange rate problem that we're having right now.
That's the lady, right?
Yeah, yes, exactly. There's a large German lady. There's an amusement park called Kittyland that's still there, and a few other rides that are there for kids. It's basically for little kids there. Yeah. And the restaurants kind of closed down, and it became less kind of boardwalk pierish after a while. And they have an ice cream stand there and things like that. Arcades and batting cages, all the usual horse shit. Small beaches around here also that are popular with the tourists and big for 4th of July fireworks. Sure. So this is an area that is people walk around, they talk to each other, all the neighbors kind of know each other, and it's one of those kind of things. You can see what I'm getting at. But in this particular day, July 12th, 1991 is a Friday. Okay. And it's a nice day. Brian Brailsford is a man we're going to talk about here. He's in his late 30s. He lives in this neighborhood. He's a captain for a cruise company. Yeah. They run between Boston and Provincetown. So it's that kind of cruise. People go out.
That's the Cape, babe.
Yeah, it's
run people out to the Cape.
Exactly. Yeah. You're running out there in Provincetown, so you're running. Yeah. You're just having just fun parties of boats full of gay men partying out there.
So much gay.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
He runs the party boat is what it sounds like. Like
the whole front of the bow is just dicks.
He's got to be a fun guy because he's like, let's do it.
Let's go, fellas.
You'd have to. Okay, a group of gay guys are going to party. Yeah. The spirit in that would be impossible to not be swept up in. I don't mean the spirit of wanting to look for men, but I mean the spirit of
having fun together.
Fun and party would be. You'd have to be made of stone,
right,
to be not swept up in that.
The
so
lack
I feel like
of
Brian's
judgment
be
in
fun.
that is insanity.
Yeah, they're partying.
You're blown
fun.
away, but you're like, how are they all just doing this and not thinking ill of each other? Yeah. It's because they're just having fun. That's all they're interested in. Is fun.
It's a hard not to get swept up in that. You're gonna have fun.
There's just a bunch of smiles.
Dudes out there. I don't care if don't be homophobic. Get over that shit. Jesus Christ, 2020. Hang out with some gay dudes. Yeah. Get some gay friends because they're pretty fucking fun.
Right.
And if you're single, they will help you find women.
It's going to happen.
And they're going to be way better at it than you. Right. That's the thing.
And they'll be honest with you and they'll tell you your problem areas and how you can improve and be a better man.
That's the thing.
And take their fucking advice.
Take their advice.
Because they're usually right.
They're going to be right. Yeah. And then they know how to talk to. They go vouch for you with these women.
They tell you what they would be interested in if you would change this. And then you take that information and go find women with it.
A gay guy vouch is the most golden thing that a straight man could have with a woman. If a gay guy goes up to a woman and is like, no, he's a good guy, I'm telling blah, blah, blah. Yeah. She's going to be on that shit. She's on that shit.
True.
If he told her how to do her hair, she'd do it like that too. Yeah. Women will take gay men's advice on things like that. So you need to get some gay friends, if only not to just be selfish. Either way, but
utilize it like
you'll have fun too. On the other hand,
if only Bill Cosby would have known that, he could have slayed so much more.
Oh, Jesus Christ! Well, if he wasn't a rapist and an asshole,
a psychotic lunatic,
if he didn't have a desire to make you feel bad, as we talked about on Crime and Sports. We discussed Bill Cosby and the fact that it had nothing to do with those people, has nothing to do with him feeling good. Right. It's about you feeling bad, not me feeling good.
That was Michael Jackson.
That was Michael Jackson. Bill Cosby, I think anybody
Same thing.
who's a domineering abuser.
Any sort of abuser who uses sex as a means of getting something that they want. It's not about making them feel good.
It's about making you feel bad. That's what's important. That's the important part. Jimmie said I cracked the Da Vinci Code with that one, but I think that one's pretty obvious.
Pedophilia to Da Vinci Code.
Yeah, I think that's just psychologically obvious there.
Unbelievable.
So back to this story, though. So Brian Brailsford, he comes home from work here. He's a captain for the cruise ship company, Boston and Provincetown. It's Friday night. He comes home after dark to the Willows area here. He gets home and he's looking for his wife. His wife's name is Martha. She's 37 years old. Martha is she's a direct descendant of the founder of Salem, Roger Conant.
No kidding.
Yeah, she's from that line. Her maiden name is Martha Laurel Conant.
Got it.
So yeah, this is you don't get much more kind of ingrained in this area than someone who is a descendant of the person who founded the place. Right. So not too shabby here. And he was given 200 acres, so I assume that's why her family probably still has land and things like that in that area. She is an interior designer. They seem to live a nice life here. They have a nice house in affluent little area, close to the beach, close to things like that.
Interior designer and a fucking boat captain.
That's a cool couple.
What a family.
Yeah, it's pretty cool, I think.
She's a hot piece of ass.
Yeah, Martha. Well, her name, that's why her name is Martha, so you know she is, as we've discussed many, many times before. Boy, that Martha's a hot piece of ass. So, this Martha, though, she's nice woman, talented lady. Everybody seems to enjoy Martha. She's very much into animals and shit like that. Nice woman. So he gets home, Brian gets home, and he's expecting Martha to be there. It's kind of the routine. And he gets home, and she's not there, though. And he looks around the house, and it doesn't look like she's been there for a while. It's like when you get home after dark and the lights are out, nobody just left.
Right.
You know what I mean? If somebody just ran out, there would be a light on because it was dark, whereas, it was not. So, also she does artwork. She'll take her artwork out into the yard and do it outside because it's beautiful out there. And so he noticed that her artwork hadn't been brought in from outside either, which is strange.
The paints are still out there.
Yeah, usually she would bring that in. So he was like, "Oh, that's weird," but still, I mean, Martha, she has friends all over.
Yeah,
who knows if she went out and she went here, there?
She interrupted.
She went to because they have dogs too. Who knows? She took a dog for a walk and ended up talking to somebody, or ended up in a conversation with the lady down the street. Who knows? Nobody knows what's going on.
There's a sale on chicken feet somewhere. She got caught up.
She's all caught up in this shit. So he waited. He just waited for her. He's like, "Oh, she'll be home eventually." But then 1 a.m. comes around and she's still not home.
Yeah.
So now he starts to get worried, obviously. He called the Salem Police Department and said, "My wife is missing here. She should be here, but she's not here. It's strange." The Salem Police told him to stay home in case she came home or in case she called or something like that. Pre-cell phones. Yeah. So this isn't like, did she text you? Right. Have you texted her? This is, if someone's not home, they're gone.
Yeah.
That's it. You can't get a hold of them, period.
Weird.
Yeah, there's just no way to get a hold of them.
Weird time.
It's crazy.
Also, what a great time.
Yeah, it's crazy to think about now.
That'd be so amazing.
Yeah, exactly.
I could get away from it all.
But at the same time, you'd be like, I wonder what that... Let me look that up. Oh, shit.
It's okay.
I can't look that up. Okay, I don't know. Anybody know where a library is? Like, how do you... you would just go crazy in 15 minutes.
What's nearby here to eat? Uber Eats, I can't find it.
I don't. They don't have it. It doesn't... Unless I can call them physically on my landline, I can't do that. So that'd be tough.
What a great time that was, though.
But yeah, it would feel good for about a half hour until you wanted to do anything.
You just fucking panic.
Yeah.
You're like, I can't do anything.
Can't do anything. I can't get a hold of anybody. Nobody can get a hold of me. It might be good, though.
How did you all do this?
We did it for a long time.
I don't know how we built to where we are.
Oh, I don't know
either. Bananas. It really is.
Just to think about people used to give you directions.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah.
You would drive to another state and you just have a list of directions and make a left here.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck?
Well, that was when goddamn MapQuest came out.
I'm talking before that, when people would be like...
people had a map out and they'd draw the map out.
Write out
Right, and you got to pull over and get out on the hood and sprawl that shit out.
I need to go east on I-73. Okay.
And then coordinate that shit on a Rand McNally somewhere.
And then fold it back up.
And try to wedge that back in your fucking glove box.
Enjoy. So he says that he can't stay put. He feels like she's probably out there somewhere. Maybe she could have fell down and hurt herself.
Yeah.
Maybe she slipped and broke her leg and fell in a bush or something. So, he's worried. He decides to get his flashlight and go out and look around for her.
Yeah.
And he says he tells everybody that at dawn he did that again. He did another flashlight tour. So this is what he's telling the police right now. Okay, which in our world, I'm suspicious.
Yeah.
Just basically based on the Oklahoma episode a couple weeks ago. It's the same type of opening.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I might go a little further than just a flashlight scan around my property.
Yeah. Well, he called the police. That's a good thing. But he went around and two flashlight scans, he said here.
But the police didn't come out?
Apparently they were going to look for her, but she's an adult. Yeah. So she's only missing for a few hours and there's no blood or anything. There's no signs of foul play. They just kind of go, hey, if anybody runs into Martha, tell her husband's looking for her, rather than, APB everybody look for Martha. It's more of those type of things. They say, hey, stay put. I'm sure she'll call. And I mean, she's a grown woman.
I hate this.
That's what I mean. It feels like there's.
But what's the other solution? It's a free country. Adults can do what they want.
That's the thing,
and
too.
It sucks.
Yeah. I get sometimes I get angry when I see like the silver alerts on the freeway, and you're like, silver alert. Now, a lot of times it is an old person that wandered away and is confused.
Right.
But what if Grandpa just wanted to blow off some steam for the weekend, and you're going to have the state police kicking in his motel room door while he's
getting a blowy from some sweet girl
he's got
who
some,
he got a $20 exchange
he's
with?
like, hey guys, he decided he wanted to go to the casino and be young again, and you're going to give him a heart attack as the SWAT team busts through the door looking for...
During his checkup,
your
his
daughter's looking for you. I'm not looking for her right now. I'm good.
Tell that bitch I'm fine.
That's how I feel like. Yeah, that's how I feel every time. I know it's confused old people a lot of times. But.
Dr. McCarthy gave me a nice sample pack of these little blue pills. Tell her I'm doing great.
This is great.
And I'm going to be here all fucking weekend.
I might take off every weekend. I don't know. Check out the Bunny Ranch next. So, I mean, Grandpa might have been looking for some strange. So... No, he's trying to figure out, Brian's trying to figure out what to do here. It's morning time. He hasn't slept all night. He's been waiting for Martha. He doesn't know what to do. So in the morning, he says, okay, he's really racking his brain. Where could she be? So he's trying to figure out anybody she may have talked to recently. Maybe she said something to them, or they saw anything, or whatever. Yeah. So he recalls that sometimes she takes early morning walks with a neighbor, a man named Thomas Maimoni. She takes now Maimoni. I have to describe him physically to you. He looks like Jeffrey Tambor in Larry Sanders. So he looks like Hank Kingsley.
Oh, Jesus.
He looks exactly like, I'm talking exactly. He's 6'3", bald on
big
top,
guy,
brown hair, ring of, not Jeffrey Tambor now where he's like thin and gray and, shaved head. Yeah. I'm talking bald around the sides with a big brown push broom mustache. That's what he looks like. Okay, like if you mix Hank Kingsley and Steve Balboni. Okay. It's a very specific reference, but if
work
you
Google
the Google
box.
Work it. So, but Hank Kingsley definitely 90s Jeffrey Tambor is what he looks like. So he's not exactly an attractive playboy of a man. But so
what time is it that he's doing this shit?
7 a.m. He realizes.
Jesus, right overnight he's already begun the whole investigation process.
He's trying to figure it out. So it's finally daybreak. It's a respectable, because you can't go bang on your neighbor's doors at 3 a.m. Because what if she did just go out for a while or something? You look like a psychopath. Yeah. So 7 a.m. though is he knows when people are awake, and he knows that they walk the dogs, because he has a little dog too, and they've walked the dogs early in the morning. So this guy, maybe she said something to him. So he goes over to this man's house. Brian goes over to Thomas's house, over to Hank Kingsley's house, and because he remembers, he said they met a few months ago, and it's not like this is a relationship that Martha has hid from him. He knows about that. Oh, I talked to this man, and he does this and that, and
he's hideous. Go on by.
Yeah, he's Hank Kingsley. Don't worry about it. Have you seen Larry Sanders? It's just like
clearly I'm not fucking,
because it just started then too. The Larry Sanders show. It's like he was like, "Ooh, that Tambor." Now that's the look I need to cultivate. It says
"Hey now" a lot. It's
that's
weird.
Sexy. This guy, Brian knocks on his door. He opens it. Hey now.
Hey now.
Hey now. So. Anyway, Maimoni works for Parker Brothers Game Company as an engineer, which sounds fucking awesome. Kind of cool.
I mean, what kind of engineer, though?
I don't know.
What do you got to engineer?
The layout of the games, maybe? But I mean, you wouldn't, I guess, be like, you wouldn't say, they wouldn't look to you and go, hey, does this look fun?
Yeah.
That's not, you're not like Tom Hanks in Big, who's like, playing with the toys probably. You're probably more figuring out logistically how to fold them and fit them into the box properly.
Pieces for Sorry. What if I make a Hershey's Kiss real tall and put a little nipple on it?
Like
what
that.
Do you think?
I feel like him, an engineer, would probably be like, the game board folds 3 times so it fits into the box like this, and then this has a thing where the
piece is cut so that it flips.
I'm not sure, but he works for Parker, which is better than working for some boring. It's better than any.
He's got Candyland.
Yeah, it's better than working in like an accounting office. I assume Parker Brothers is probably a loose place to work. They probably have games hanging around.
Probably got Connect 4 money.
You know what I mean? He's got Connect 4 money. He's got that sort of thing. feel like it's like a fun.
Yeah, it's
like
good time.
Fun environment, you know.
Fucking chutes and ladders.
Yeah.
There's probably chutes and ladders to get into different offices.
There's probably a floor that's just chutes and ladders. This is the 8th floor, Candyland. Get on off, and you get off, and you're
I have
like,
no idea if these are real Parker Brothers
I don't know if
games.
they're Parker
They
Brothers.
could be
or not,
anything. It doesn't matter. It's still fun. I just want the whole building.
Yeah,
a
each
board
floor.
game.
It's like Donkey Kong
Right.
walkthrough board game.
Like codes to get into doors. You got to push like draw 2 on Uno cards.
Oh, that'd be great. That'd be great. See, I want to work here. This sounds like
this
fun.
sounds fun.
So he works there. So Brian goes to his apartment. Thomas lives in a nice apartment nearby. It's like a condo, and he doesn't. No one's home. He knocks on his door. Brian's not there, and he knows Brian walks the dogs and shit in the morning. So that's not abnormal that people wouldn't be home at 7 a.m. So he then goes to. Brian heads down to the Palmer's Cove Yacht Club, where because he goes looking for Thomas. Maybe he knows. So Thomas has a boat down there. So he says, oh, maybe he's down at his boat. It's a 28-foot sailboat called Counterpoint. That's the name of it. Wow. There. So this is how these people are living.
A board game engineer is crushing life.
Twilight lives in a nice beach
got a
community.
30-foot sailboat.
And a 28-foot sailboat.
Unbelievable.
Named Counterpoint.
What a
life. Yeah. Doesn't that sound great?
Ah.
He's going to sail out to Nantucket or something. What a hell kind of life are we? We're screwing up, Jimmy.
We're dummies.
This is stupid.
We're real dummies.
Should have been a board game engineer for Parker Brothers.
I did a sail out there around that area, and it is fucking majestic, James, on a sailboat.
It's
out there.
amazing.
It's incredible.
It's beautiful out there.
It was probably a 40-foot boat that it was probably that goddamn boat.
Probably was.
I don't
it was
know.
Probably sold and sold again.
It's amazing.
Let me ask you, who was the captain? Did he look like Hank Kingsley? Did he say, hey now, everybody aboard?
I'm going to be honest with you. It was about 12 different gay men with us, and it was amazing.
And I bet you had fun, didn't you?
It was the greatest time.
There you go. See? Fun.
Fucking incredible.
Fun
So
shit.
much fun.
See?
We brought tomatoes with us as like snacks. We brought like little tomatoes and cheese.
Not
and
like
stuff.
a hand fruit?
Yeah,
Not like an apple?
Emily's mom grew it. I don't know. So so we made like a bottle of wine and cheese and tomatoes and crackers and shit. And we shared them with these gay men, and they insisted on making a video for Emily's mother. And they like all got together in a crowd with like their wine glasses, and they're like,
wait.
thank you.
Okay, now I believed your story up until that point. Now, did you just say that gay men like to perform? That I don't believe. That I will not believe that gay men
They
insist.
choreographed a goddamn video.
See, now I know you're not telling the truth. I know that can't be true.
It was bananas.
Gay men do not
Thank you,
choreograph.
Maria. Your tomatoes were delicious. It's
bet.
the first time
And you
they've
had
ever
fun.
Yeah.
See?
Complimented a woman.
That's what I mean. We're right. Fun.
It's the
Damn
best.
it.
It was great.
Fun. So Brian is looking for him. He's not down on Counterpoint.
Yeah.
So Brian goes back, walks around a little bit, heads back to Thomas's apartment at 8 a.m. So gives him an hour, goes back, knocks on the door. This time Brian's there.
Yeah.
And he opens up the door. Hey now. And
Yeah. Use it in a sentence. Hey now.
I love that.
How are you?
Use
right
it
now?
in a sentence, Hank. Hey now.
Those some nice
They were
shoes.
telling him not to use.
No, that's not how it's.
That's great. If you have never seen the Larry Sanders Show, not to give
Just Google
HBO
that.
another credit, but Jesus Christ, that's the most amazing show ever. It's
really
so
was
good.
good.
Comedy-wise, it's so amazing. Holy shit. So way ahead of its time.
Yeah.
So Brian introduces himself to Thomas as Martha's husband. Hi, I'm Brian. Martha's, Martha. And, I can't find Martha. Martha's missing. Do you know anything? Thomas says, Brian says Thomas looked at him like he was unsure who Brian was talking about. Like, giving squinting, like, do I know?
How many fucking Marthas you know, bro?
One of those things. And then he said that, and then Brian was like, you guys, didn't you walk yesterday morning? The broad you walked with yesterday morning. That's my wife.
Right.
Missing. Oh,
Her name's Martha.
That's the one. Yeah. So that kind of clicked it in for him. And he said, oh yeah, I know Martha, but, I did walk with her yesterday because Martha had told Brian, walked with that Thomas guy this morning. They have a good relationship and everything. So, Thomas says that yes, we did walk, but at the end of the walk, she took off and had walked on with some other friends.
Yeah.
She saw some friends and she went with that group, and he went back to his apartment, and that was that. It's the last time she saw him. I don't know. Yeah. So Brian asked whether Martha had sailed with him yesterday at all. And he said, no, not at all. They didn't sail on Friday. That day at all. And he said, I wouldn't ask Martha to sail alone with me. But if you guys want to come together anytime, he goes, if you want to go with, obviously I'm not going to say, hey, come on my boat with me alone. Like, I'm not a weirdo. But if, you want to go with her sometime, there's an open invitation for you guys. But no, she didn't sail with me, which just all seems very normal. I mean, this seems, no, she didn't go sailing with me, but if you'd ever like to come on the boat, you're welcome to. Whatever. So he said, Brian, you guys can come. And he said at this point, Thomas said, I might even bring a girlfriend of my own on there. Well, make it a double date or something. Okay. We'll have a good time, is what he said. So Brian said, oh, that sounds great, but I got to find my wife first. So
also, I'm a boat captain. My boat's bigger and faster. Fuck you.
So I don't really need your boat. But thanks. My boat's full of gay men. Right. Is your boat full of gay men? Your boat's nowhere near as fun as mine. So take a hike. Get yourself 20, 30 gay guys and get back to me. Otherwise, I'm not interested.
Your little 38-foot boat is masculine. Yeah, 28 feet. Oh, 20. That's cute.
Oh, that's great.
It's adorable.
Yeah.
You see all the cock on my boat.
It's way more than you're ever going to have. So
masculine boat on the sea.
It is. So he says she's missing though, but that's it. So Thomas says, well, I don't know. I'll pray for her.
Wait, what?
Which is okay. Thanks. Yeah. I guess.
Yeah.
I'll pray for Martha.
Peace be with you. There's a lot of Catholics.
Yeah. Thanks a lot. All okay. Right. So at this point, the police are now involved. By the morning, a detective, Detective Conrad. Wow. Prosnewski, we'll call him Prosnewski.
Okay.
Prosnewski, he interviews Thomas later on that morning because Brian says, they say, who has she talked to? And he says, well, this woman and that guy and this guy and blah, blah, blah.
And this guy had some weird shit to say.
Yeah, Hank Kingsley is involved in this shit as well. She saw, she's going over, who do you know that she contacted yesterday? And he goes over the whole list. So they're going to want to talk to, Thomas about this. Now, it's at this point, Martha had told her husband, because this is what she was told by Thomas, that she walked with him because she felt bad for him because his wife died of cancer.
Oh, Jesus.
So he's a widow.
Yeah.
And he's like, he's just kind of a sad guy. He's this bald guy with a mustache and he's, just kind of this sad dude who lost his wife and trying to get his life together. So she kind of is like, oh, it's going to be okay for you. And, oh, what about her down there? Maybe, you could ask her out. Or she's trying to help him with stuff like that. That's the general deal of
it's working. Hank sure seems to think he's a playboy. I'll bring a girlfriend of my own.
I'll bring a girlfriend of my own. That's the thing here. So it's very interesting that was go on. But when they talk to him, he says, no, I haven't. The police talked to Thomas, and Thomas says, I haven't seen Martha since 7 a.m. yesterday, and I didn't sail with her. I definitely wouldn't sail with her alone because, I'm a married man. That wouldn't look good.
Okay.
So it's like, by the way, he's not a widow and he doesn't have a girlfriend. He is a liar though. We'll talk about that. More on that in a minute.
All right.
More on that at 10 o'clock here, Beck. It's fucking crazy. Okay.
What's his pussy sitch? I want to know.
So eventually they find out from people that were around and eventually from Thomas, they kind of triangulate some time periods here and they figure out that Martha she was on the Counterpoint boat on Friday. She boarded around 1 p.m. on Willows Pier. Yeah. Okay, that's what they do find out. So by the time the 15th or the next weekend comes around, or that weekend, Thomas goes away to Rhode Island after he talks to the police.
Okay, he jumps on the boat
with his wife. Oh. No, with his wife, he goes to Rhode Island.
There's the pussy sitch.
And another couple friends. We'll talk about that. Or I'm sorry, he's not. His wife's not there at this point. His wife's out of town, but not there. Okay, so he goes to Rhode Island for the weekend. He comes back Monday, July 15th. The detective gets in touch with him and he meets with him that night. Right away, they give him a Miranda warning up front because they're asking him. Basically, he's considered a suspect.
Sure.
Or at least a person of interest at this point in the whole investigation.
You're one of the last to see her alive, and your story doesn't fucking add up.
You're getting Miranda warning now. Otherwise, if you started talking and anything turned toward he's a suspect, you'd have to stop and Mirandize him then, which kind of screws up the whole flow. So you want to get it out of the way early. So they Mirandize him, and the detective said, look, Thomas, if you want to tell me that Martha didn't get on your boat at Willows Pier, he says, just walk out now because I don't believe you. Mm-hmm. So you can walk out, and when we get the evidence, I'll come arrest you. Okay. He goes, but I know she got on your boat. People saw her get on your boat yesterday. So that's a fact. So if you're going to lie, I don't want to hear it from you. Don't even want to hear it. But if you want to tell the truth and have a talk with me and be honest with me, sit down and I'm all ears, basically, which is an interesting approach to an interrogation. But
good start, though.
Yeah. But Thomas, it might be the way to go, because Thomas takes a little pause here and kind of thinks about it for a moment and then says she was supposed to bring her husband.
Yeah.
That's the response to it.
Weird.
So now they're like, okay, so he has admitted that she was on the boat.
Right.
She's supposed to bring her husband. Interesting. He says that Martha was supposed to meet him on the boat at 1 p.m. at Willow's Pier, because he said that Martha's been helping him in other areas as well. He says that he's working on he needs a new resume, and Martha was helping him work on his resume. So Martha was supposed to meet him on the boat at 1 p.m. with her husband to help him with his resume.
That makes sense.
That's the thing here. He said he brought the boat from Palmer's Cove over to Willow's Pier, but it was crowded and he couldn't tie up. So he said he just had Martha jump aboard because he couldn't tie up and do an official. So she just, hey, come on up. And he, helped her aboard. And that was that. She's just going to help with the resume. No big deal. He said he motored a short distance to a landing at Winter Island, which is kind of part of the Willows area, where she went ashore at another place, which was on her regular walking route. So he says she was just on the boat for a few minutes. They motored over to here and he dropped her off, and then she continued walking.
My resume tip top. Get off this boat.
Have a good one. Thanks. Good advice. So I need a mission statement. Okay. Thank you. Get off the boat.
Good cover letter. Okay.
Good cover. So cover letter or no, because there's people, it goes both ways. Oh, if I'm faxing, I should probably, you're right.
If I quote Thomas Jefferson.
Is that bad?
Good, bad.
What do you think?
What's his historical relevance?
Keep it off page 1. I got you. Okay.
Understood.
It's fine. So, he says she jumped off and kept walking, and that was that. She said that he went on, Thomas did, he went on and moored over by the yacht club, and he said he was at the club until about 6 p.m., and then he went home.
Jesus.
That's his story.
What a day for him.
That's a great day.
My God.
That's a Friday. What a wonderful Friday. Got up.
The cops just sitting there open mouth going, what a life.
Jesus, I ate Arby's yesterday. You know how gross that is? That's what we all had. We all had it. Everybody in the office had it for lunch yesterday. What were you doing?
Curly fries were great, but the sandwich, lacking.
Come on.
Definitely lacking.
You're out there just...
You're loving life.
Sailing.
Fish tacos?
Picking women up, dropping them up. You know you had fish tacos. Right out of the... They're actually probably like raw oysters and clams.
I'm sure it was.
And the ones from the Northeast are briny, too. They're so good.
You bastard.
You son of a bitch.
Living life.
You briny bastard.
I had to earn a living. You spent a living.
I'm eating Arby's.
Son
Thanks.
of a bitch.
Beef and cheddars, yeah. Oh, you should have said it was awful this morning. Awful.
Goddamn nightmare.
Fucking
I need a doctor.
Yeah, I just crime scene taped the bathroom. It was that bad. So he, though, has had quite the day. Yeah. He went to the yacht club, hung out till 6 o'clock, and went home. Mm-hmm. So that sounds wonderful. So the police locate the harbor master. They talk to him. They try to find people who had been at the Winter Island landing about the time when he would have done that and when he would have landed there. One man they talk to is a guy named Dr. Ronald Plotka. Mm-hmm. Okay, he's a dentist who, as it happens, has been Martha's dentist for 10 years. Okay. This is why small town murder is interesting. Yeah. If this was in New York City, you wouldn't run into your dentist somewhere on the island. Oh, yes, no, that happens to be my patient for 10 years. This is all very small town. And especially this little area of Willows it's kind of like Brentwood with OJ. Like everybody knew each other and all that kind of shit. It's a weird place. So Plotka said he had been at the landing from noon to 2 p.m.
Well,
never saw Martha there.
Not once.
Never saw her. So I think I'd have noticed if Martha pulled up on a boat and jumped off onto the shore, I'd have said hello.
Recognize those bicuspids anyway.
Sure. Incisors are fabulous. They're fabulous. They're beyond reproach. So at this point, the Salem police notify the state police and say, we're going to need more manpower here, which is good. Yeah. At least, like we said, the mayor's not traipsing around a crime scene or some crazy shit like that. Yeah. The game warden didn't come in to kick the tires around and take a look at it.
I don't give a shit if the game warden, quote unquote, has more jurisdiction.
Don't care.
It's fucking weird.
He doesn't know how to investigate a human homicide. He just doesn't. I'm sorry. You know who does? Homicide detectives.
When Rocky and Bullwinkle are murdered, we'll holler at him.
When there's dead people, I want no one but homicide detectives. Everyone else, secure the scene and then bring people who know what they're doing in to look it over.
Bring in 10 Marg Helgenbergers. That's who I want.
That's perfect. So, Jesus Christ. So this detective invites Thomas to come in for another interview here. This time, Thomas arrives at the station accompanied by his father-in-law, Charles Stockel. Stockel? Wow, that's a Stochl. It's a tough one.
Whoa.
Stokel? Ooh, that's a...
I'll bet that's
I think it's Stokel.
I'll bet it's Stokel.
Oh, that's a good one, Jimmy.
Dope name.
Yeah, Charles Stokel. No, no one's ever pronounced it correctly.
Never.
What are you, Stachel?
Which letter's silent?
Stokel. Okay, great. So the state trooper here, Mark Lynch, he is here as well. Thomas repeats his story. Same shit he said before. Then Stokel leaves the room, and because they think that maybe he's talking less openly in front of his father-in-law, as you might imagine. If there's another woman
judging,
because they're thinking, they don't know. They're like, look, if he's trying to bang Martha, he's not going to tell us in front of his father-in-law he was trying to bang Martha. It's bad enough for him to tell us that. He's not going to tell us in front of him.
This man's daughter.
Exactly. So he leaves the room, and the officers then mention the dentist. They mention Dr. Plotka, and they tell Thomas flatly. They just tell him, I don't believe you. The dentist was there. He didn't see her get off. No one else saw that at all. Basically, what you're saying is all the people, tons of people saw her get on your boat at that time. Nobody saw this, dismount that you told us about here. We don't know shit. So, what do you say to that? Anything? Yeah. And he goes, well, sure. Here's what I got. He's got a story. He always has a story, Thomas. He said that he had sailed with Martha. Okay, I messed up the first time. We didn't just do a loop. My bad. I forget things, It's easy to forget with my sailing, wheeling, dealing kind of life. You know what I mean? It's very...
Friday was busy. Listen.
Do you know how many how many of those boggle dice things I had to make? You press it and they're hard. They're hard.
Yeah.
Sometimes they don't pop up and then the dice don't go. Kids complain.
It's a real conundrum how big the cup should be for Yahtzee.
It's a tough
one. We went with 6 ounces.
We wanted... It's all right. It's got to be big enough for the dice to shuffle around, but not so big that they're lost in there.
And then it's weird to
so it feels like, am I missing dice? There's supposed to be more dice. It feels like there should.
Got to give enough for them to mix around.
The balance.
6 ounces is what we found.
So, in addition to his Yahtzee findings, he also said that he sailed with Martha as far out as Gloucester. And at that point, it was approaching sunset. So he started for the trip back to Salem. Yeah. He said, it's getting dark. Let's head back. They just kind of went out and came back. He said, he got everything going. He depowered the motor as they were coming in, and he was bringing in the mainsail. He was bringing down the mainsail.
Got it.
I guess. I know nothing about sailing, but it makes sense. Power down the motor, put up the sail.
Right.
That makes sense to me.
Put it up or bring it down?
Bring it down, which I think means...
So he's putting the boat away.
Yeah. Exactly. Put up. Yeah. That means put away, I guess. Yeah. So, he's getting ready to come into...
The harbor
here. So he said that the head sail became messed up, is what he said. So Martha was trying to help. Martha's very experienced on boats.
Sure.
Martha's
her husband's a fucking captain.
That's what I mean. Plus she's from this area. Yeah. Her family.
They founded it.
They sailed on over here, and she is all about boats and water. She's a strong swimmer, swims in the ocean. Mm-hmm. She knows her shit out here. So Martha jumps in, tries to help, he says. He says at that point, a rogue wave struck the boat. It was a rogue wave came. I don't know what happened here. What Carnival cruise ship caused this out but sea, but
Moby Dick.
Just a rogue wave hit the boat.
Yep.
And he said at that point her face hit the mast.
Oh no.
Her face banged into the mast, and she grabbed for the head sail and slipped and went overboard.
Right.
Oh my God.
And then the Kraken got her.
Well, not only that, I was going to say then Kurt Russell ended up adopting her. And then the story goes in a completely different direction. So she goes overboard. Her husband says yes, and then a local lout with his children pick her up. By the way, that movie, the greatest line delivery in maybe comedy history, is when Kurt Russell is telling Goldie Hawn, "I bet you don't even remember the kids' names." and she focuses, like if she squints and looks at it real hard, the names will come, and she looks at one and she goes, Roy.
How is that the name?
Not the kid's name at all.
For that
Roy, and she says it like, yes, right?
And all the boys look at each other and go, mouth Roy?
Yeah. It's not me, Mom. It's Roy later on when he's cutting up. A lot of movie references today.
That's a good one, though.
That's fucking amazing.
That's a great goddamn movie.
It is a great movie.
It's all about how
Kurt
to rape
Russell.
somebody.
Well, Kurt Russell,
for several months.
Second week in a row, I'm going to bring it in. But we did that movie on P.S. I Hate This Movie.
Yeah.
Me and Sarah on the podcast there, and I have a running list of Kurt Russell's felonies that every time he has one, I have a Law and Order sound effects, and I go, "It's another Kurt Russell," and I'll read like the law of what law he's breaking now.
Unbelievable.
Kurt Russell should have been life without parole for that whole movie. So anyway,
and instead she marries him and then says, little girl.
Happily ever
Give
after.
me a little girl, we'll be fine.
Girl, it's all good with your miniature golf course.
Rape me again.
Oof.
Hey, everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show and tell you about Noom. Has Noom helped you? I believe it has.
Oh, it's got an app. You can do tracking. It's terrific.
It does. Noom builds personal plans that can meet individual needs. That's the thing. Takes into account any dietary restrictions, medical issues, other personal needs. That helps build a plan that works for you. And yes, so I know that you've had your own personalized program here that you've been working on. And
it's weight loss This is weight loss results that last. They stick around because you get yourself into a lifestyle change. That's what matters.
That's mainly it. You can't just say, I'm going to cut that out for a month and then go back
to
it. That's not what it
don't.
is. So I'm glad it's helping you. That's great. And it really does. I like the psychology and biology-based approach here. Yeah. Noom Weight uses psychology. That's why they say losing weight starts with your brain, but it also takes into account your unique biological factors, Jimmy. All of your multitude flora and fauna that goes on inside of you there. Sure, yeah. Stay focused on what's important to you with Noom's psychology and biology-based approach. Sign up for your trial today at Noom.com. Noom.com, Noom.com here. Based on 3.5-year study of actively engaged Noom users with minimum starting BMI of 25. Individual results may vary. Visit our website for more information. Hey, everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show to tell you about a healthy, delicious item, Hero Bread. And we're both trying to get healthier this new year. Jimmy had a eye-opening doctor's appointment and things like that. So we're trying to get healthier, and I'm telling you right now, this Hero Bread is a good step in this direction. It's delicious, and it is really good for you, and it's really excellent. They have the sliced bread is good, the bagels, the tortillas. I know you've been
they're terrific.
Ranting about the tortillas. They're so good. With Hero Bread, you can focus on your health goals and still indulge in the soft, fluffy experience you love, but guilt-free. I really love the little Hawaiian rolls, too.
Yeah.
They're so good. They're so good. The Hawaiian rolls, they're legit. They're fluffy. Yeah. They're exactly how you want them to be. You'd never know it's low-carb and high-fiber bread from the texture. You get the soft, fluffy experience you know and love with your savory breakfast sandwich, late-night grilled cheese, Taco Tuesday. Do it. Yeah. No compromises, just flavor, ultra-low net carbs, 0 grams of sugar, high in fiber. It's fantastic. Hero Bread is offering 10% off your order. Go to hero.co and use the code SmallTownMurder at checkout. That's SmallTownMurder at HERO.co.
And now back to the show.
Hey, everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show and tell you all sorts of good stuff about Chime. That's what I'm talking about. There's so many extra fees you have to pay in life. Everything. You go to the airline, there's an extra ticket on that. There's extra fee on every fees and fees, hotels, fees, all this type of stuff. We're trying to make progress, and the next thing you know, here comes another fee coming at you, and it's more money than you expected, and your whole math is thrown off, and it's awful. Learn more at chime.com/smalltownmurder. Chime is great with that stuff. I mean, you can't beat if your things are a little tight, especially around the holidays or after the holidays. You need that money a couple days early, you go grocery shopping, you got a car payment due, there's so many things that don't cross over exactly how you want them to cross over. Make progress toward a better financial future with Chime. Open your account in 2 minutes at chime.com/smalltownmurder. That's chime.com/smalltownmurder. Feels like progress. Banking services and debit cards provided by Bancorp Bank N.A. or Stride Bank N.A., members FDIC. SpotMe eligibility requirements and overdraft limits apply. Boosts are available to eligible Chime members enrolled in SpotMe and are subject to monthly limits. Timing depends on submission of payment file. Fees apply at out-of-network ATMs.
And now back to the show.
So she grabbed for the head sail and went overboard.
Mm-hmm.
He says at this point, somehow her bag fell overboard too at the same time, her purse. I don't know.
Her and all of her shit.
And all of her shit. She was, women don't like going places without their purse. So if you're falling overboard, oh no, my purse.
God,
I don't know.
it.
But that's his story.
Yeah.
We're not making fun of her, but this is, his bullshit story.
Yeah.
This sounds, I'm calling bullshit now. We don't know yet if it's bullshit, but, so she says that the bag fell over too. Now, to his friends, he told them that he had thrown her the bag and hoped she would catch it. So
okay.
He says she fell overboard after being hit in the head, and he was like, "Here's your purse." How does that help?
What is this, a dooney? Does this float?
I'm not going to stop or do anything, but here's your purse for when you get back to shore. Enjoy your swim. The hell kind of story is
I
that?
don't need any trace of you on this boat.
And hope she would catch it.
What a ridiculous thing.
She fell overboard.
Yeah.
She's not going to catch her purse.
No, I said a life. Give me a vest.
I don't need my Carmex right now. Thank you. Can you put the purse back on the boat?
You didn't think to throw her one of those ring things?
No, not a life jacket of her purse.
Or that foam ring thing that hangs on every goddamn boat.
Yeah, so
a life preserver.
He said that he was trying to spot her and she dipped below the water, and he said that she was just in complete distress, and he says that he didn't know what to do, and so he froze. He was just frozen. He didn't know. He watched her. She didn't come back up.
Yeah.
So he's like, oh no. So he said he froze and didn't call the Coast Guard.
No.
He said he couldn't do it. He was just frozen. He just sailed back in, frozen. Okay.
Well, there's that shit.
All right. I don't know.
Gotta get out of here.
He said though he did at that point got a map and marked on the chart for the police the place where she'd fallen off the boat. He goes, she fell off here. Right. You might want to look there, but I just kept sailing.
I was out of cinder blocks.
Her purse should be her purse should be nearby as well. If you run into that, Jesus Christ.
I only had two things to
this
throw
guy's
her.
an asshole.
Either her purse or my anchor.
Yeah.
So I chose the lightest.
The purse. This guy's an asshole, man. I feel bad for this poor Martha.
Dick.
We don't even know what happened to Martha yet, and I already feel bad for her just that she ever had to walk the dog with this asshole.
Unbelievable.
This lying shithead. So this was about 9 miles from Children's Island, which is out there, and
that's a long swim.
It's a long swim, yeah. So he said, "I'll take you to the spot.
Yeah.
I'll take you to where it is. My bad. Fucked up. Some, panic. Don't know what to tell you, but it wasn't my fault. I'll take you to the spot. Well, it's all good. We'll make it better.
I'll clean it up.
I'll clean it all up. Everything's going to be fine." He says, "I'm sorry I didn't tell the story earlier. I regret it." He goes, "But my wife, Patricia, she was in Kansas visiting her mother at the time when this was all going on, and she was gone for a week, and boy, we'll tell you all about his week." He said that I didn't want my wife to find out I had a woman on board alone, because she would be mad.
Right.
I would think she'd be more concerned about somebody died on your boat than...
I think she'd be more worried that you murdered somebody rather than you
had
fucked
sex with
somebody.
Yeah, it's a different deal. So he says, I'll take you out there. The police think he's lying.
Yeah.
So they don't even go out and look. They think he's lying. Mm-hmm. They're like, this is not going to be where she is.
There's no body out there. There's nothing.
He's full of shit. Yeah. They don't buy anything he's saying, because every time he tells a story, he's got different details.
Right.
And then he told other people different things. He's got 18 stories. So now we go to the Thursday morning of that week, and there's a guy named William Hooper Goodwin, who's a lobsterman.
Yeah.
He's lobstering out there, and he's bringing up his lobster trap early on a Thursday morning, looking for his goods. This is near the southeast end of Children's Island, and as the last trap in one of the lines comes to the surface, Goodwin sees an anchor tangled in the trap. He's like, God fucking damn it. As a lobster fisherman, this is a pain in the ass.
Last thing you want.
Somebody cut their anchor, and now I'm caught in it. Great. Now it's fucking up my trap. So he's super pissed off. And he trailing from the anchor, he found a 12-foot rope tied by knots. So he's like, God damn it, what is this? He keeps pulling. It is tied to the ankle of a body.
He did throw the anchor.
Of a body, of a naked body, so scavenged that it was, because it's at the bottom of the water, so there's tons of crabs,
sharks, there's crabs,
well, it's all the
lobsters,
anything down there with claws and lives in shells is going to be down there eating it. So it was basically almost a skeletal at this point. So what he finds is a buckled diver's weight belt. Weight belt with a buckle that is buckled around the figure of this person, between the pelvic bones and the rib cage. It was around their waist, like they would, like a diver's. Like somebody was diving there. So he pulled this in. Obviously, calls the Coast Guard. They take it in. They find out this is Martha. So that's where Martha is. She was out there, and it was off of Children's Island. Now, at this point, they hear Thomas is with his wife, who had flown in home from Kansas, and they were with friends of theirs. The McCarthys are their last name. Okay, there were two couples hanging out. It's at that point they heard the news that the body had been found. Right. They heard the news report.
Thomas goes white, and Patricia is pissed.
Well, Thomas just gets up and says, I need to go see my lawyer, and drives off by himself.
Wow.
Takes off. Which is not the reaction you want from your dinner party guest. There's a body. I got to see my lawyer. Well, you'd be like, what the fuck just happened? You'd wait for that dude to get outside, and you go, he killed somebody, right? Should
we lock behind him? No, we don't want him back in, right?
Lock it. Yeah. Kids, get the lock.
That's a bad man, right?
Write down his license plate number, too, while you're at it. So, Martha, when they find Martha, now Martha, she was examined by Dr. Plotka, because dental records are going to come up big in a skeletal remains, capacity. So she had seen Dr. Plotka 3 months before the exam, and she had perfect teeth, as he put it. Perfect. He had worked on them. Her teeth were perfect. And a postmortem examination shows a chip on the inside surface of a lower left molar, something that you would notice. It's not something that, that could have happened while she was eating and she didn't notice it. It's something she would have noticed and would have went to the dentist for, because she was very up on her dental care. She's like super into her teeth. Also a loosened lower left front tooth, which definitely wasn't like that before. So Dr. Plotka and other later on, when they have forensic dentists look at this, they say that the fracture of the molar was caused by force from a blow below the jaw, and the loosening of the front teeth is a force from a direct blow to the chin.
Damn it.
So these are two separate blows, they're saying here, which is not hitting the head by a mask thing. So the head, top and front of the head, had suffered 3 impacts. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 so far that we found here. Most serious on the top of the forehead, with bleeding under the scalp, was probably inflicted, they said, shortly before death. The other 2 injuries involved a little amount of force, not a ton of force. The third one was the big one, and that was the close to death one. None of the 3 could have caused death, but each would be felt and could have dazed you. And especially if you were then dazed and then knocked into water to fight with ocean currents.
That'll rock you
a little bit. There was also they determined that she died of drowning. I don't know how you determine that from the skeleton, but they figured it out somehow. I don't know. I'm not a doctor. Maybe if I went to medical school, I could figure this shit out a little easier.
I don't know.
So, who the fuck is Thomas?
I'd like to know.
Let's see what Thomas has been up to. Well, Patricia is his 4th wife. Okay, which is fine on its own, but Patricia thought she was his 2nd wife.
Oh, no.
Which is not fine on its own.
No, it's not.
He is just a liar. This guy lives to lie.
He loves it. It's his favorite to create his own fantasy.
And by the way, none of his wives died.
No,
none of them died of cancer. These are just stories, because he told her that she's his 2nd wife, and his 1st wife died of cancer.
Wow.
And he told
and she's his
everybody.
4th, and 3 are still alive.
They're all alive. None of them died of cancer. So just lying a lot. Also, when they look into him a little bit, he admits admits to having repeatedly falsified his resumes, applying for jobs, falsely claiming educational, diplomas and shit that he didn't have, other credentials, accreditations and programs that he took that he never took, things like that, work experience that he didn't have, just fabricated shit on his resume. They said he had a spotty employment record, and in July 1991, he had just been laid off by the Parker Brothers Corporation. So he wasn't even doing that.
It's over.
He actually was unemployed at that time.
Wow.
He didn't tell people that, but he was telling people he was an engineer, but he was not. No. Now, earlier that week, his wife had been in Kansas, okay, like we said, away. So he apparently took this week as, I'm going to try to get as many women on my boat and fuck them as I possibly can.
Right.
That's what he spent the
was
week
his
doing.
game.
All week. July 8th, he was with a woman named Roxy Platt. Okay. Platt met him, and he told her his wife had died of cancer, which is what he told Martha too. Right. Dead wife, cancer. Yeah. So he invited Platt to go sailing on his boat. He makes women feel bad for him, and all the women say he comes across as very harmless because he's not. He's a tall guy, but he's not real imposing. He's bald. Yeah. He's kind of he's soft around the face and things like that, where he doesn't look like a guy who is like a brute or something like that. He seems like, he's a white collar guy with a little, soft guy with bald head and all this. He's fine. He's harmless. Yeah. He's a poor guy. His wife died. That's how he approaches everybody. So nobody's really scared to be with him.
That's a weird way of trying to get pussy.
It's a really weird.
Really
it's
bizarre.
Disturbed.
Yeah.
That's way more disturbed than anything. Making up shit that's good about you is less disturbing than saying my wife died of cancer.
Right.
That's creepy.
How not confident in yourself are you that you have to go to that one?
That's what I mean.
I realize that there's no way I can even lie to you or make you laugh or smile or feel good about yourself. I can't make you feel good about yourself so much that I'll make you feel horrible for me.
That's what I mean. Well, it's so shitty too because he doesn't just say I'm not married. Right. I'm a single guy and try to get laid and have everything be on the square.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? He actually uses his own wife to try to get laid by making up that she's dead. That is way more offensive. Yeah, to the woman than any.
Not even just dead, because you'd feel bad for somebody that their spouse died in a car accident or some freak accident. Cancer.
I watched her wither.
I clearly watched it.
It was terrible.
It would cheer me up. A blowy.
That's what I mean. Come out on this boat.
I'm going to impress you and make you feel like shit for me.
That's what I'm saying. That's his game.
So much so that I'm going to try to get my cock in you.
That's an issue.
Bananas.
Dude, that's what I'm saying. That's the type of dude we're dealing with here.
That's gross.
Can't even just do, is your wife's out of town, just tell people, if you want to be gross, just be like, I'm a single dude with a boat.
Right.
What's up? That's not even good enough for this guy.
Is that enough to get my cock in your mouth? No. Next.
Okay. I can get free Candyland. Huh? Christmas edition.
Yeah.
Hey. So
I'm developing a brand new game.
Yeah.
You want to see how it goes? Come on out on my boat.
Let's do it. Roll those dice.
This is called Snakes and Snakes. Guess what? It's always a snake.
It's always
a
snake.
Put it in your mouth.
This one's called Snakes, Bananas,
Eggplants, and everything phallic.
And salami.
Yeah.
Would you like to play?
This game's called Suck My Phallic Object. Let's go.
So, yes, he's playing that with this one woman especially here. Now, Jesus Christ, poor Roxy here. She said she went out January or July 8th. In the course of the sailing, she went out. She felt bad for him, was going to go hang out with him. She said he suddenly, out of nowhere, became, quote, very sexual, and started describing sexual encounters that he had had with other women on the boat.
Oh, God.
I don't know if he was, that was his way of...
You mean right where I'm sitting?
Being that's pretty hot, right?
What about over here? Is this area clean?
I didn't even bleach it.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, so it's at that point where she was kind of like, okay, was kind of turned off by the whole thing. And then he really decided to put a cherry on top. He dropped his bathing trunks and sailed in the nude for the rest of the time with an erect penis. He's like George Washington. Foot up on the bow.
On the Potomac.
Let thy erect penis lead the way. The way to freedom. What the fuck is he doing?
This is my compass. It finds due north. Watch. It'll lead us back.
He just sailed with a hard dick with his dick. And she was not like, oh, nice dick. She was not like, she was ignoring him, like being like, okay. She said she faced away from him on purpose and wouldn't look at him the rest of the time. This is uncomfortable.
He didn't even put his pants back on.
Put yourself in her shoes.
Yeah.
You're out on the water, trapped with this guy.
Right.
And he takes his dick out. Where you can't run? Are you going to swim 5 miles back to shore? This is threatening. This is scary.
After telling you what the horrible sexual things he's done on this boat.
That's what I'm saying.
And now his dick's out.
I'm afraid.
Oh boy.
If I'm her, you know, this isn't like we're laughing because it's ridiculous, but in reality, this shit is fucking scary.
It really happened.
This is actually scary. Yeah. It's silly to see a Hank Kingsley with his foot up on the bow and his dick rock hard, hands on the hips, looking towards shore, like he's, you know, with nobility in his eyes. That's funny. But the fact that someone's actually there having to experience this,
and he didn't even put him like up on top of the mast because it makes the boat go faster, like summer rental.
No, not at all.
He just left him around his ankle.
That's it. Just
standing at the wooden wheel.
That's it. Imagine that. Imagine Cat and Ron standing at the wheel, erect penis. Going crazy. Well, Martin Short's like, what the fuck?
What is happening?
Let's see how many movies
to fuck my wife.
from 87 to 95 we can reference
Sailing
today.
references? Fucking we
ground. What about Bob? I'll just throw it out there. I'm sailing, and my dick is out. I'm sailing. My balls are feeling the breeze. Dr. Marvin, Dr. Leo. Baby steps, take my dick out and sail.
Such a good movie.
It's great.
It's one of the greatest ones ever.
It really is. It is phenomenal. God damn it, it's great.
I sailed today, so I sail now.
You know, got that going.
It's my first time, but I sail now.
I'm a sailor now.
Let's see what this diving's all about.
So she faces away from him and he returns to shore. He returned to shore. He didn't like, you know, put it in her face. He didn't like, you know, be like, hey, come take a look at this or anything. Like,
taste this and see if it's clean.
He could tell that she wasn't into it and he was like, oh boy. So he just let it go. And then when they got to shore, he said that they shouldn't make a big deal out of it. Well, I bet you would want him to not make a big deal out of it. I guarantee you that'd be great for you. Hey, don't make a big deal out of the fact that I just made you severely uncomfortable and fear that you were going to be raped on a boat. Let's not make a big deal out of that.
Land ho! By the way, we don't say a word about this shit that made you shudder.
So, July 9th or 10th, he has another woman on the boat named Rosemary Farmer. Okay, old fucking Washington himself here, Hank Kingsley Washington. He invited this farmer along, Rosemary Farmer, on the boat, under the pretext of being interested in buying her house, and he wanted to discuss it with her, which you usually do that at the house, not on a sailboat.
Let's do it on my sailboat.
Let's go. We'll sail out and look at the house from the water. So after he's at dock, he asked if she would like to go for a sail, and as they motored out. As they're motoring out, he says, yeah, my wife died of cancer this year. So he hits her with that. Yeah. So he's talking about, I want to buy the house. I need to get out of this place because it's just got a lot of memories. Why does it have memories? Oh, my wife died of cancer this year. So he's going for that right there. Yeah. Oh, poor man. But at that point, she said he then started touching her repeatedly, started to put his hands down her pants and under her shirt.
Well, that's far.
Yeah, that's really aggressive. He anchored near Graves Island, and she asked to be taken back. And he said, how modest are you? That was his response. Like, oh, look at you being all modest. No, she doesn't want to fuck you. Right. She's uncomfortable with you. Yeah. Take her back to shore. Instead, he dropped his pants and was naked and put a wetsuit on and swam around for a while she was horrified up on the deck. And then he swam back up, took his wetsuit off again, dried himself all off, good and plenty naked. And then, that was that. Okay. Below deck, in the galley below, this guy's got a galley, this son of a bitch. He grabbed her around the waist and tried to pull her inside the sleeping cabin as well. She took the stairs to get to the deck, and he again dropped his shorts and then held her for several minutes before releasing her. Like, you sure you don't want any of this? Like, he's disgusting.
He has the worst game ever.
It's my wife has cancer. Touch my dick. That's not game.
You've got a 30-foot sailboat, man.
He hasn't he just goes, he'll be like, I have a sailboat. My wife died. Touch my dick. That's not. He knows that all of those things together could equal someone touching his dick, but he doesn't know how to make it work.
That's not
an
engineer.
Know how to finesse that into someone touching his dick. He's
not a pussy engineer, that's for sure.
He just lists it.
Yeah.
I have a boat. It's 28 feet long. My wife died. It was cancer. Here's my dick. Please touch it. They're like, what? So on deck, she sat in the stern and said that if he touched her again, she would dive overboard and swim away.
Yeah.
Like she's to the point where I will take my chances with the water before you. I'm done with you. Yeah. So at that point, he just went back he went home and was done with it. Okay. That was it. Wow. This is fucking crazy. She also, she convinced him to come in and, wow, it's interesting. Basically, what she would describe as a mood of sexual aggressiveness.
Yeah.
So all week he has been trying to get women on the boat to fuck him while his wife's away. That's his game. Yeah. Like, my wife's away. All the women will fuck me now. Now, they had found Martha, like we said. Now there's someone who takes credit for that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not the lobster guy?
Not the lobster. Not a guy who randomly pulled it up in the lobster, but a witch. A local witch.
Oh, my God.
Who says she is the official witch of Salem.
Yeah.
A woman named Lori Cabot.
Okay.
Who, on her site, it says she's world-renowned for her magic and psychic abilities.
Oh, boy.
Now, they said they gave her the name and location and birthplace of Martha, and she tuned in and had a vision of what happened to Martha. She reported that she saw Tom make sexual advances on Martha, and when she rejected him, he dragged her to the side of the boat and hit her head and struck her head on the boat. And in her vision, Tom proceeded to put weights on her hips and tie an anchor to Martha's feet before tossing her overboard. And then she had described, before it was found by the lobsterman, she says that she described to the police where Martha's body was in the water, and then the lobsterman found the body, and
She said it was there?
Just as I predicted. There it was.
Okay.
But yeah. Okay. So
but did she write that down or
she told the police that.
Okay,
she told the police.
She told them all of this before the body was found?
We don't know about that. That's what she says. I haven't heard the cops say that, but I've heard her say it a lot.
You told them they were over there.
She says it a lot, but I don't know. Maybe she did. I have no idea.
I don't know. These witch chicks are fucking fascinating women.
Now, so the police here, after hearing all of this, they would just love to get Tom back again here. Yeah. So this is after they find the body. They find Martha. They go in and kick in his door to go get him, basically, like 10 minutes after they found her body. They were like, okay, go get Thomas. And he wasn't home. He was gone.
Yeah. He's at the lawyer's office.
No, they wished he was at the lawyer's office. The detective here, the Prosnewski, he said that he was surprised not to find him home. Mm-hmm. He said he was cooperating with us. He said, quote, he was always there. He returned every call that I left on his message machine. Yeah. That was before there was a body, though. Now there's a body.
And we can't get a phone call.
He instead went on the run. Uh-huh. So now Lori Cabot, the local witch, again, she said she went into her trance and had another vision.
Oh, boy.
In her vision, she said she saw Tom shaving in a cabin and sensed that he was on his way to cross into Canada. But she also said she wanted to, she said she offered to perform a binding spell to ensure he would make a mistake so stupid he would get caught.
Okay, how much does that cost us?
Well, let's see here. Yeah. Now, the following Saturday, July 20th, he was arrested in northern Maine near the Canadian border in a cabin.
Wild.
Okay.
Come on.
Okay. Now,
the idea that he's crossing into Canada, pretty fucking obvious.
They're
literally
close.
40 miles away.
Yeah, that's the thing. Where else is he going?
Right.
So he had a backpack of camping goods and all this sort of shit in his car. He had maps and compasses and all this. He left his wedding ring behind with a note indicating how Patricia could be reached. Like, hey, you can return this ring to my wife. Okay. Basically, I'm gone. Tell her she died of cancer and I'm out of here. Fuck it. But the problem was that this has nothing to do with psychics. They didn't hear. I mean, even maybe she said that, but that's not what drew police to this cabin. What drew police to the cabin was nosy small town neighbors who noticed a 1987 a silver Ford Taurus that they weren't familiar with, so they wrote the license plate down and said, we don't know who this is, and called the fucking police on them.
Unreal.
And it turns out they went, that's the car we're looking for. That's this guy, and they went up and busted him. So it's actually nosy, small-town weirdos, not psychics, that found him.
That's awesome.
So, yeah, when they searched his house, too, they knew that he worked for the Parker Brothers Game Company, but they also found several business cards bearing his name with all sorts of different jobs and firms. And
oh, shit.
He was like, catch me if you can, basically.
Yeah.
He just had all sorts of, here's my card, and he worked for some other company. Because you can just get a card made.
Of course.
You can get a card right now, say you're the CEO of Microsoft.
Absolutely.
There you go.
Yeah.
Jimmie Whisman, CEO Microsoft. That means nothing.
The new one?
Yeah, it means nothing.
Right.
Business cards you print them yourself. It's someone telling you something in a printed card form.
Exactly.
Because people are like, well, he wouldn't have got it printed if it was a lie. When I went all the way to the printer.
Why would he do that?
Why would he do that? Because it's very convincing. You get a business card, you go, that must be legit. That's on stock. Look, that's not paper. That's some
raised letters,
cardboard
bone,
stock.
James, it's bone.
That's it's a magnet.
It's got a
Look at
watermark.
That. Holy shit! So. Police are very like, what the fuck with this guy? They're also checking he has discrepancies on his resumes. There's one resume where he says he has a doctorate degree, which he 100% doesn't have. A neighbor and friend of his named Jim Brown, not the football player. No, he tells the Boston Globe that he had gone, Martha had gone on board the Counterpoint to help to help him with his resume, help Thomas with his resume. That's what Thomas had told him. He said that Thomas worked as an engineer, but had been recently laid off, and he needed a resume. Brown also said that that Thomas had called him on the phone and gave him another version of the events, saying that Martha had gotten on the boat, but he said that same story that he gave police, she got hit in the head by choppy waves, and he doesn't know. He said, this is what the Brown guy said, quote, he said, I just want you to be aware the place is going to be crawling with media. I had a little accident on my boat over the weekend, and I'd like you to be a character witness. Okay.
That's a hell of a sentence.
That is not a little accident. No. That's a big accident that a woman is dead.
I murdered a bitch.
I murdered a lady, and I'd like you to tell everyone what a good guy I am.
Whoops-a-daisy.
Sorry. Not okay. Little accident. Now, through July 15th, he had control of the boat, but on July 16th, he signed a consent form that the police could take the boat into their custody. And the next day, police moved the boat from the yacht club in Hawthorne Cove Marina, and then him and his wife both owned the boat here. Now, a police chemist and the rest of a team, they had a whole crime scene team, made a search of the thing. They found and seized a mainsail with blood stains. But the problem is Thomas and Martha have the same blood type. And this is before DNA being very good. So you needed like a very pristine sample. And so they have the same blood type. And so in his testimony, he says, when he tells the cops, he says, well, that could be for me cutting my hands on those ropes and shit. You cut your hands on boats.
Shit is bloody.
It's bloody. He said I could have got a nosebleed and had it on my hand. And who knows?
I was fishing. Those hooks are sharp as shit.
You hook yourself. There's all sorts of shit here. Also, a handheld vacuum cleaner, a book of ocean charts there, and also they looked for below deck. They looked for signs of blood or semen or anything like that. They did the luminol test and found nothing down there. And but then they had a search warrant later on when they actually found the body on the 18th, and they went back and seized other things there, but nothing major. They couldn't really find anything on the boat. He cleaned up the boat pretty well, apparently. So on July 25th, which is after he's been arrested here, they videotaped the exterior and interior of the boat, and then they returned the boat to Patricia. They went over it with a fine-tooth comb. There's nothing more they can do with it, so they give it back to his wife, and he ends up signing his interest in the boat over to Patricia so she can sell it or something for financial shit because he's in jail. He's been arrested. So in August 1992, the boat was sold to a resident of Connecticut. And then prior to trial, though, the defense counsel is going to they have to track it down from the guy in Connecticut so they can examine it as well. Now, this is what a creep he is. Okay, this is I've never heard of this in a court before. First of all, it tells them a lot about the small town nature here, but at the same time, we've done a lot of small town murders. Never had this before. Okay. Jury selection comes around for the trial. Wow. The court stenographer, the person typing the shit. Right. She saw him enter the room and had to remove herself and recuse herself from the case because she had recognized him as someone who tried to pick her up one time.
The clerk.
The stenographer. Yeah. That dude tried to pick me up one time. Yeah. I got to recuse myself.
I got to be out of here. Yeah, I can't even write his words down. That guy tried to fuck me once.
I'm biased against him. So she's trying to make sure there's he's got to be above board. Yeah. So she does. She recuses herself. Okay, so that's weird enough as it is. We've never heard of the stenographer be like, that dude tried to pick me up and it was creepy. I can't do this.
We've never heard of a stenographer recusing herself from a trial ever.
I've never heard them speak. Never mind recuse anything.
I didn't even know that they had to be
I thought like you had to be a mute. I thought it was you're to be seen and not heard, except for click, 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 click. That's all we're going to hear.
Maybe we should start checking in on the stenographer more often.
Yeah, check in on him.
You ever been okay? A part of this? Right.
Are you okay? Did the man touch you? So not only her, but two, not one. Yeah. Two female members of the jury pool stated they recognized Thomas as a man who approached them in a sexual fashion.
This guy.
And they were excused.
How many people has he not tried to fuck yet?
He has tried to fuck everyone. Yeah. Literally, they gathered just a random assortment of people in court, and 3 of the people he tried to have sex with, including the court stenographer.
3 of the, 15 people that...
I've never heard of.
A bailiff, a judge, a stenographer, and 12 jurors. 15 people?
You bring in 100 jurors just to go through the whole thing, or even 75 or something like that, but 2 of them he tried to fuck? Are you kidding me? What are the odds of that? That's insane. Yeah. That's nuts. That's what a pervert this guy is.
He is wild.
Just anything that moves, he's all over it. So we've never had a pervert of this level before. No matter what they've done to anybody, we've never had someone so wanting pussy as much as this guy. Wow. So October of 92, he tries to make a motion to suppress his statements that he's made that are, incriminating. Sure. And they say, fuck no. No. You said that. You were Mirandized good and tight on that one. Yeah. So that's going to come in. Pathologists on both sides of the case rule the death as drowning. For prosecution and defense, but because the body had been submerged for 6 days, they can't be entirely sure ever of that. Who knows? Right. Sure, her skull wasn't crushed, or her rib cage wasn't. They know that much, but anything else is really a guessing game at that point. They said they couldn't even do the certain tests that they wanted to do because in the condition the body was in, it couldn't be done here. Now, he's arraigned on August 2nd, 1991. His lawyer here is a guy named Jeffrey A. Denner. He files a notice of appearance as his attorney. On August 22nd, it was already apparent here that he didn't have... basically, he didn't have the money to pay this guy what he needed to pay. Yeah, no, right. He didn't have the money that he was going to need, and this guy was getting in over his head. This attorney he wasn't going to get the help he needed from this guy. So the attorney and client entered into an agreement for legal representation in which the attorney's fee was fixed at $200,000. Don't kill anybody; it's very expensive. Yeah, this is a lot. Even if you have no moral, repulsion to it, super expensive. Right. So either way, just bad to kill people. So in this. The provision in this, though, was the attorney could receive payment from the exploitation after the trial of a movie and like opportunities.
Gross.
Okay, yeah. Now, it says in this agreement, in the event that the defendant should decide after trial that a movie, book, and or other media opportunities would be pursued, he explicitly will and does authorize attorney Jeffrey A. Denner to pursue same for his own economic benefit, and further that any unpaid monies toward the foregoing legal fees should be paid directly out of any proceedings derived from said book, movies, or whatever. So basically, he's got points on this guy's back end.
Up to $200,000, and then after that, points
it's
on the
yours.
back end. Right.
Now, it's super fucking weird, and we'll talk about later how that's possible, because the Son of Sam law has been really twisted and kind of reshaped, and different states have different versions. It's a weird thing. Son of Sam law, in case you don't know, is a law that it's the kind of an over blanket law that says that you can't profit from your crimes, basically, because Son of Sam wanted to write books about himself that would make him a lot of money. So so he January 27th, 1992, the attorney appears before a judge seeking an allowance of funds to retain experts, because he doesn't have them. So the judge indicated that an allowance could be made if the attorney proceeded pro bono. It's like, sure, we'll pay for the experts, but not if you're getting paid. It's not like you're going to get paid and then the state's going to pay for experts.
Right.
You can go pro bono, and he agreed to do it.
Really?
Yeah. Now, I'm sure that agreement, though, is still in.
I'm going to get paid in the back end.
It's still in effect. And then they ended up canceling that agreement.
Really?
Yes, and the defendant was aware of this. Thomas was aware of this. So the venue, first of all, he wants a change of venue, because this is big news around here.
Of course. And,
she's her family, and it's a big deal. It's a very big deal. And the trial judge said she was well aware of the media attention, and that none of it was really good toward him. It all made him look terrible. And the judge said, quote, "I don't need to be really persuaded of the coverage, because I have personally seen the coverage and know of the media interest, but still denied. You still can't change a venue." She said, people here can figure it out. They can separate what they've heard from what they'll hear in court. They're smart people. So still, though, I think just for appearance sake, it's better to move that thing.
You would think so.
Just for appeal purposes here. So, she wants to, it ends up too that judges have a lot of leeway. They can say no and say it's because I think the jury can figure it out, and they'll end up saying that's fine, even on appeal. So also, the defense moves to dismiss before the trial, complaining that the Commonwealth here had failed to provide security tapes and or other protection while the boat was at the Hawthorne Cove, and had returned it to Patricia in a condition that was mishandled. He wants to dismiss a murder charge because he says his boat was mishandled. And they didn't really even find any evidence on there anyway, except blood that could be his or hers, and that he already admitted hit her in the head. So it doesn't fucking matter. You don't need that blood. You have his words. So it's very stupid there. Thomas at trial, he decides he needs to testify.
Oh, boy.
He's going to testify.
This is crazy.
So, at trial, he's got another story. So,
I mean, he needs to testify. He already said he threw a woman overboard.
If he doesn't testify and make the jury believe him, they're just going to believe that.
At minimum, it's second-degree murder, right?
Or something, involuntary manslaughter. Right. I think he's trying to say, total accident, I froze, I'm guilty of being a bad person that panicked, but I'm not. It was no malice.
Boat captain, but
awful boat captain. No, you don't take. I'll take no gay men to Provincetown. It won't work out. So he says that they sailed out just fine. This is a trial. He said there was no sexual involvement or quarrel of any kind, no argument. Everything was smooth sailing. He said around sunset they were coming home, and again rogue waves struck the boat. He said Martha was coming from the foredeck to the cockpit and struck her face on the mast. He said at that point another wave came as she was stumbling.
Two of them.
She got Nordberged.
The ocean
thing.
Left and right at her?
It was a Nordberg thing. Like she hit her head and then went over, burned her hand on the stove, and then leaned on wet paint, and then that's what happened.
Walked through a spider web.
Obviously,
got stuck on the fly paper.
See, 87. I say 87 to 91. I think I fucking forgot. I think it was 86, but still close enough.
Close enough.
So, apparently another wave came and Martha got thrown overboard. Horse shit. He saw her in the water swimming toward the boat. He said he could not make eye contact with her, and so he did not throw her the flotation device. Like he couldn't say here's the flotation device because she didn't make eye contact, so he just let her flail. Rather than throwing it and being like, it's to your left.
There's no word.
Hey,
I couldn't see her.
Look right. It'll save your life. So I just said, fuck it, I'll let her drown.
Right.
No, that's ridiculous.
Wild.
So he said instead he tried to maneuver the boat with its swim ladder toward her, because that's easier than throwing her a flotation device.
It's a 28-foot boat.
Yeah, he's going to try to...
That's a lot of boat.
He's going to parallel park it next to her so she can climb up on the... That's much easier than throwing a thing and going, to your left.
Right.
Idiot.
28 feet, that's too much boat.
He said she didn't grab it. She just didn't grab it. It's just too much boat.
It's too much boat.
It's too much boat.
What do you guys think? Jet boat or a pontoon boat?
This guy, that's what this boat should have been called the Pussy Pontoon, because that's what he was after. That's what he was doing. Jet boat.
The pontoon.
The pontoon. Jesus Christ. So, he says that he stepped down the ladder because she was down there, and he said he stepped down the ladder and he put the top part of his wetsuit on and went down the ladder and grabbed a hold of her, and he said it took a lot of effort to get her back up on the deck, you know, a grown person pulling her out of the water, soaking wet, pulled her out of the water, and he said he got her on the deck, and he said he tried to revive her, he gave her CPR and mouth to mouth. He said he, quote, worked against hypothermia by removing her wet clothes and wrapping her in towels.
Is it July?
Well, it's cold water still. That's cold water out there. And if you came off, still.
I don't know.
Wrapping her in towels. He said he realized she was dead because her body released urine, which made her realize she was dead. Oh. And then he was like, at that point, he said he's in a panic now. Yeah. He said, oh, no, what do I do? So he said, what am I going to do? There's woman's in my boat. My wife's out of town.
Piss everywhere.
This looks terrible. Yeah, this looks awful. Piss and blood. It's a real disaster. In the end, he said that he just motored out to Children's Island. He said he brought up an anchor and a diver's belt from below, weighed Martha down with the anchor and the belt, and threw her into the water. This is his story that's supposed to get him off of a murder charge. Yeah. He said that he was incapable of a better response. He says, because they said you could have used the radio and called for help, or at least told someone and everything like that. But he said he was just incapable of it. He was so frozen. And
who would believe this?
He was after his wife died of cancer. The man's traumatized. What do you want from him?
She was just here to do a resume.
That's what I mean. Good God. So he said he got to shore and he got home. It was well after midnight by the time he got home. So that's that. He gives that scenario here. He says, Jesus Christ, there is no way to measure the storm that would be directed towards me if I went straight in, he said, with the body. Yeah. Like if he just came in with dead Martha on board. He said, there's no way to measure the storm that would be directed towards me if I went straight in. He said, I didn't want to lose my house and I didn't want to lose my wife. I'm sure she didn't want to die, and I bet Brian didn't want to lose his wife either. Right. So, I mean, we all have things that we don't want.
But here we are, with you losing your house and your wife.
Here we all are.
Fucking jerk.
At a murder trial, though, so everybody lost everything, dummy. What
a theory.
Yeah, then after this, they brought in all of the women that he brought the week before. Yeah. So there's a pattern of every day that week, him, erect penis sailing. That looks great to a jury. And then he sailed with his erect penis leading the way as the North Star the whole time.
What a wild fucking thing.
Jesus Christ. So the defense calls a Dr. Harold Burstan, who's a forensic psychiatrist, and he says that Thomas suffers from schizotypal personality disorder, which is a mental condition that made him respond to conflict by a process of make-believe. An asshole.
Yeah.
You can call that whatever you want. An immature twat. You can call it whatever you want. Not an adult. A fucking responsible manslaughterer. There's a million different names for it. I don't know if schizoid personality or schizotypal personality disorder fits into it. Not to make fun of mental illness, but this is horseshit. Yeah. Fuck you.
They're making fun of mental illness when they're using something to try to typecast and diagnose a legitimate dick.
He's a dick.
A fucking jerk.
He's a dick. Yeah. Joe, by all his behavior, then he says it was this. His brain went into a thing of make-believe. No. I'm sure there's people in the world that actually happens to. He ain't one of them. No. That's all I'm saying.
He's a guy that doesn't look the way he wishes he looked, who doesn't get the amount of pussy he wishes he got, and he tried to do it for a week, and it didn't work.
He was like, I guess I'm not a playboy. Damn it. Back to the couch, as Hank Kingsley.
Fucking jerk.
He says that the doctor also says in a crisis situation, situation like this, Thomas might have believed that Brian Brailsford, the husband, was on the way to rescue her. That's what he believed in his head, because he just, he went into a fantasy world. So he said, I'll just go in here. Brian's on her way. He'll take care of her.
Right.
I gave her a purse. Everything should be fine. Oh, boy. So this guy also says that he thought Thomas was incapable of violence. So in his opinion, Martha must have died by accident, because he couldn't have killed her, obviously. So, ipso facto. Fucking the fuck. Oh, my God. They said that, if he did participate in the death at all, it could definitely not have been with malice. No way. Like, it was a total accident and all that sort of shit. So, self-delusion is what they said. That's wild. That's some kind of shit there. But the jury, I think, is probably going to look at it in a couple of different ways. They're going to look at it that they're not going to believe that Martha fell into the water and then in an attempt to rescue her, she died. First of all, slip overboard was not... She's not going to slip and fall overboard. No. She's experienced with boats. She knows where the mast is. She's not going to be walking, hit her head on something and slip and fall. She's going to go on a boat. She's going to have the right shoes for it. She knows how to do shit. Yeah. She knows where the sails are.
She's going to bring the bottle of wine.
She's not stupid.
Little towel.
Yeah. She knows what's up here.
She's going to lay down and watch the stars.
That's it. So, that's not going to happen. Also, the 5 different points of damage to her head, including the cracking and loosening of teeth on different sides of the mouth that would take 2 different blows, is still there. That could also, makes him sound like he's full of shit. Also, then the jury can very easily think, well, if he tried to have sex with all 3 of those women and been rejected all week, and then Martha's rejecting him too, and she's a neighbor, so what if she gets mad and tells her? What if she said, I'm going to call the police, or I'm going to tell my husband? Thomas is in deep shit at that point. So that's what they're thinking of. So they, it looks bad here, I would say. Wow. The defense in his closing argument here, the Jeffrey Denner guy, he says that, it's an accident. That's all. He says, quote, if Thomas Maimone is charged with being a pathological liar, with being a pathetic jerk who drops his pants, with disposing of a body, then he's guilty. He threw that disposing of a body in there.
Right at the end.
Pathological liar, pathetic jerk who drops his pants, disposing of a body. Those are... You just you tried to real casually throw that in there.
You're going to make a guy that disposes a body the same guy as the guy that drops his pants?
I mean, possibly, but,
It's possible, but it's not the same level.
He's putting it all in as one. He says, liar, pathetic jerk who drops his pants with disposing of a body, then he's guilty, fine. But he's charged with murder here. This is different. The defense asked the judge to instruct the jury on a voluntary manslaughter charge as well. Hey, what about that? Hey, didn't rescue her, but it's, first or second degree murder sounds a little harsh. Hey, what are we talking about? The judge says, no, they're good. First and second's good. I don't buy that shit. Fuck him. So there's that. February 12th, 1993, verdict comes in. He can be found either not guilty or guilty of first or second degree murder. He is guilty of second degree murder. They find him here. They don't think that this was a premeditated thing. He's just trolling for whatever falls into his
trolling for pussy. It doesn't work, and he has to get rid of it.
That's it. Now, sentencing, we'll see, because second degree, there's some degrees to that where you can get a lower sentence. Let's see what he ends up with. You, sir, may fuck off. Life in prison for you. Shit. Enjoy. Possibility of parole, though, but not for a while. But still, life in prison.
In Massachusetts, you got to do 25?
I believe so. Well, we'll talk about it. 2006, so I think it's 15 is basically what he ends up with. 15 from the time he went in. Now, that's his first parole here. We'll talk about. Now, the media after this, the thing they were talking about with the book was because there was interest from a person named Joan Pinkham of Fly By Night Productions in 1991 who communicated with the attorney about a media treatment of the case, but there was through the trial, it was all off, they all stopped it. But then in March 1993, a month after the verdict, the Joan Pinkham resumed communication with the attorney, and he was in the process of drafting a contract to be entered into with the defendant for media rights, and then that one ended up being abandoned. And the attorney's representation of Thomas in the case came to an end on June 8th when he put a motion in to withdraw. So the son of Sam law, what I was talking about, kind of has ebbed and flowed a little bit here. In 87, Simon & Schuster sued the state of New York to prevent enforcement of the law with respect to the book Wise Guy, which turned into Goodfellas.
Got it.
It's based on the book Goodfellas. It's Henry Hill's book, and the case reached the Supreme Court. In an 8-0 ruling, the court ruled the law unconstitutional. Yeah. So that's why there's different. Yeah, it weakened this law a lot.
Is it based on like open market and capitalism and shit?
Basically, the majority said that the law was over-inclusive and would have prevented publications such as works of the autobiography of Malcolm X, because he was arrested, things like that, Confessions of St. Augustine, big time books that were important books. The state of California's Son of Sam law was struck down in 2002 after it was used against Barry Keenan, who was one of the people who kidnapped Frank Sinatra Jr. in 1963. He's trying to write a book about it 40 years later. Right. No harm, no foul. Frank was on The Sopranos like every week. I think he was fine. You know what I mean? Frank Jr. probably forgave and forgot there. Right. So New York adopted a new Son of Sam law in 2001. The law requires victims of crimes be notified whenever a person convicted receives $10,000 or more from any source. That means sense. They can now sue him for that. So that's the way where you can make as much as you want, but we're going to sue you for it.
The good news is
that's better. I think
that's actually a brilliant thing, because if that person is found guilty in court, you can sue them for wrongful death. But if they have fucking nothing, what's the point? If they write a book and make a bunch of money, you can go take that shit from them.
Yeah,
they got nowhere to put it.
That's why If I Did It, the OJ book, that's why it's got Fred Goldman. That's why it's Fred Goldman's book. Fred Goldman owns that book because he sued OJ for it, and he sued to put it out, but for him to get all the profits and to change shit in it too, which he did. So now
you got to edit the fucking book.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Wow.
So now on appeal. We'll go through the appeal real quick because the parole hearings are what's interesting here. On appeal, he appeals the prior bad acts thing. That's one thing because they brought in him.
They always do that.
The resumes, him being a general liar, his business cards, and him lying to the women out on the boat and trying to fuck them and erect penis sailing and all that shit here. Because they let two of the three women that he was with that week testify, and the judge conducted a evidentiary hearing and all that kind of shit. They said that a person's particular bad acts may not be offered to prove his bad character or propensity to commit crimes, but it may be introduced for other relevant purposes. The evidence of what they did in this case was admissible because it was the purpose of countering his protestations following the disappearance. That he would not sail alone, that he would not sail with a woman, while he was married or whatever, that wasn't his wife. So they're saying, yes, you would. You took these two women out that day. Oh, what happened while you were on the boat? Oh, his dick was out the whole time. Yeah. And that's how that comes in. So it is. That's just the way it is. And also they said it was further evidence supports a plan or pattern of conduct to bring women along for what they call sexual adventure. That's what the court called it, sexual adventure. That's a weird way to put it.
So they should call Pirates of the Caribbean. That's all that was.
Sexual adventure. Yeah. I feel like whoever was typing this got to that and stopped and went, adventure? I guess, put adventure in, I guess. I don't know. But they had to think about that one for a second. I don't know. So, it was the house buying pretext with the one lady and all that sort of thing, the resume with Martha. And basically they showed that he kind of got more sexually aggressive over the course of the week with these other two girls. And, this could have been here. One of the women, said that the woman she felt imprisoned miles offshore in a sailboat with a guy with his dick out. Right. That's scary. So also, they say that the defendant was himself offering expert testimony about his own psychological makeup and mental state at the time to explain and possibly condone his behavior toward Martha, his lies to the police, his final flight. The Commonwealth was entitled to a response to introduce evidence likewise bearing on his mental state, because that's what he was trying to say there. So also the photographs, he tries to say there was, photographs of her skull and shit like that allowed in, but we've done that a million times. We know unless it's really over the top, they're going to let that in. And also the manslaughter thing is his big deal. Doesn't manslaughter sound like a salad? Sounds like I'll take a manslaughter. It sounds
worse.
It sounds like a salad that has bacon on it.
It sounds worse than murder.
It's weird. Yeah, slaughter.
Yeah.
That sounds terrible.
Literally slaughter.
It sounds like you went in with like a machete and just hacked someone to pieces.
There was nothing left.
Just pieces.
Chunks.
Arms on the walls hanging off.
Well, manslaughter sounds terrible.
It sounds way worse. Yeah, manslaughter sounds terrible. So, so they talk about that. He says it should have been manslaughter because his thing was that it was unintentional, and they went in and the judge just didn't believe that. They said, quote, because the contention that involuntary manslaughter was a possible verdict rests on the hypothesis not supported by the evidence, there's no error in failing to charge the jury on it. So there was zero evidence that said it was involuntary manslaughter. Everything looked bad. Then he also says his counsel was ineffective. He says that he argues that he was inept in the questioning of the doctor, the psychologist, and so and it just blunted the point of his testimony. They said it was just, forget about it. He ruined it all. That would have been. He would have gotten off if he knew how to question this guy, basically.
The guy cost $200,000. I'm sure he did fine.
Now, the judge told the jury, once again, in thinking about the issue of malice afterthought, because that's what they were talking about, you need to consider the defendant's mental condition. You must consider whether, when debilitating or deliberating on the question of malice, whether his mental condition, the defendant had the capacity to form the specific intent to kill or cause grievous bodily harm. So they gave the instruction of, if you believe that guy, then you don't believe this. So anyway, appeal denied.
Yeah.
Fuck off. That's 96. Get the hell back in jail, mister. Now, while he's in prison, and there's a couple of crazy parole things coming up, a book is written in 1997. This is by the Joan Pinkham. She ends up writing this book. It's called A Scream on the Water, A True Story of Murder in Salem.
All right.
So that's one which sounds like very true crime.
Yeah.
Like, our titles are like mocking that.
Right.
That's what our titles are. Our titles,
Scream on the Water.
Our titles are all like kind of satire of that sort of shit, of the overdramatic ones.
Fucking cheesy title.
Yeah. And then in 98, this was covered by City Confidential.
Oh.
A&E, if you don't know, used to have this show called City Confidential. It had this guy with this voice. I mean, Salem, Massachusetts. And it's like, it was an amazing voice. And his voice was creepy. Yeah. It's a murder story. And this show was on forever. They had 12 seasons. This was the 5th episode.
Really?
So this was the first season, 5th episode in 1998.
Wow.
So no one has seen this. I mean, it hasn't been on in 20 years. No one's seen this shit at all. So while this is happening, he's in prison. 2006, he's up for parole.
Yeah.
He's 62 years old. In this hearing, he acknowledges being guilty of panicking and trying to get rid of her body. That's his new thing now. I tried to get rid of the body, but it was only because I panicked. So I, put the weights on, just like I said in trial. It's a rogue wave. That's fine.
What a fucking story, man.
Well, then he tells the parole board, this is his way of trying to get out. He goes, quote, first of all, my sailing days are over.
You guys let me out? My dick's going to stay off of boats.
In my pants and off of boats. You
won't see this bare dick on a boat again.
Well, then he says, he just tries to put it off as like inadequate sailing ability. That's what he tries to put it off as. Not sexual aggression or...
Clearly, I'm no first mate.
Not caring of human life, indifference to human life. He says, my sailing days are over. Under the stress of that situation, I failed. And I don't believe I should be in charge of another vessel ever.
Yeah.
No, you really shouldn't. For way more reasons than that.
Not a boat, not a dick. Stay away from vessels.
Shit. He said that he was accountable for the safety and well-being of all passengers and crew, and that's what he screwed up on. So that being said, I've learned my lesson. Let me out of jail. That's what he says. He says, literally, quote, I hope to convey straight away my profound remorse for my actions regarding the disposal of Martha's remains at sea. I look at a person who is either perhaps, I'm sorry, this is the parole board talking. The parole board woman answered him by saying, quote, I look at a person who is either perhaps an innocent man or one of the most manipulative and maniacal men who has ever been placed before the parole board. Yeah. One of the two.
Right.
I don't know if you're capable of telling the truth. It doesn't seem like it to me. That's what she said here. Now, Martha's husband, mother, sisters, in-laws, everybody was there saying, don't let this piece of shit out of jail. He had nobody there.
No.
So that doesn't look good for you. They said, after listening to the testimony we heard here today, I don't think there's all that much I need to say. This is what Brian Brailsford said, the husband. All I ask is that all I ask this board is that we not go through this process again any sooner than necessary. Basically, you're not going to let him out. Let's put
it on the board for a long time.
They're required to see him every 5 years, so they don't put him on the board again until 2011. Okay. It's 5 more years. We'll let him sit. That's still only 20 years since he's done this horrible thing. Denied parole. Parole attempt number 2.
Yeah.
Okay. Jesus Christ. This is 2012. They get weirder and weirder as he tries to figure out how to work the system. The parole board member said, Cesar Archilla said, quote, I feel like I'm in the twilight zone of parole hearings.
Yeah.
It's lie after lie. Every statement's a lie. He says that basically Stephen got in front of our Thomas Stephen. I want to call him Stephen for something. Nobody. I want to call him Stephen the whole show. I've had to stop myself. Thomas tells them that he suffers from incredulity disorder. Is what he says.
I lie a lot?
Incredulity. Yeah, it's exactly. I lie a lot and I go into fantasy worlds.
He's a pathological liar.
And my brain goes into fantasy worlds in times of stress.
Not only do I lie, I think of crazy shit.
And then I lie about it.
Right.
On top of it.
And then I make you believe it's real.
And then lie about that. So this guy said, quote, I'm in the prosecutor was there, and he said, quote, I'm incredulous. I can't believe what I'm hearing. It's like you live in an alternate reality, which is fucking amazing. He claims that he had post-traumatic stress disorder stemming from Martha's death. Now, to have a murderer try to get sympathy for post-traumatic stress disorder is really next level. That is next level manipulation.
It really is.
That's like making your wife feel bad that she doesn't have cancer because you couldn't get laid. That would be the equivalent of that.
Summer's like,
this is crazy.
I ingested penis. I am a mess.
Yeah.
Dahmer trying to get paroled would be the best.
I'm so... Do you know the shit I've seen?
I've seen human flesh dissolved in acid.
It's crazy.
I can't do this jail thing.
I've seen holes in people's head because I drilled them. It's fucking nuts. So he says that this is the reason why he needs to be released.
Yeah.
PTSD.
I can't do this jail thing anymore.
He said the only thing, the way this is going to work is if you release him from state prison so he could be admitted into the VA hospital in Rhode Island for treatment for PTSD. Because I'm so messed up by this.
Okay.
He also told the family and friends of Martha that, quote, he takes full responsibility for my decision to place her in harm's way, which is... You might as well say nothing.
Yeah.
That's worse than saying I didn't do it to me. That's like, no, motherfucker. Don't go halfway and say you put her in harm's way. Say you killed her, threw her in the water, and tossed her purse, you scumbag fuck.
I take full responsibility for some shit.
Yeah.
For what?
He said he then admitted that dumping her weighted naked body overboard was, quote, inhumane and unconscionable. Yeah, we know, motherfucker. Yeah. That's the point. He says that he did nothing wrong, and the board members at this point were like, up. We've heard testimony from these other women. You were inviting them on the boat. You're making sexual advances. You hung the flag off of your penis. You used it as a masthead. This is not. Come on, man.
Look, it's a pirate flag.
He says look at it. I'm a fucking pirate. Yeah, you're not a pirate unless your pirate flag is hanging from your erect penis while you sail. Then you're a pirate.
I'm about to pillage.
That's pirating right there. I don't think the Pirates of the Caribbean movies would have been quite as popular with that. He says, wow, that was not part of the trial, is what he says. And even though the transcript says it was, he says that witness did not take the stand at trial. I was not given an opportunity to defend myself on that. Not true. He was. Then the prosecutor is there still. He says, quote, you are probably one of the most dangerous persons that have been here before me. You're a predator in every sense of the word. You wouldn't know the truth if it knocked you over. I like that. Then another board member said, quote, the family of Martha Brailsford has not yet heard you describe what you did to her. You maintained this preposterous story and you say you have remorse. Those two things don't go together.
Right.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. He says he was adamant that the 5 blows to Martha's head must have came from the lobsterman who pulled up her body. Must have got dinged around in the cage or something. That's what they're saying. Loosened up teeth. Yeah, okay. Wow. And in his closing statement here, he gives, he says, quote, this is his big admission. He says, quote, I have lived a life of lies, deception, and dishonesty. I did a poor job today. I have been interested in finding the source of all this. I don't know where it came from because I grew up in a healthy household. Okay. I did a poor job. He's like a quarterback who just lost.
Really, I mailed it in today, guys. This was, we're looking forward to next week.
I know when I roll left, I shouldn't throw right, but he looked open and, it's my bad.
Since he's on the schedule next week.
That's all it is, babe. You know how it goes. We'll go down, we'll beat the shit out of the Dolphins, and it'll be all good.
The scariest part about this, to me, is they have no way of determining whether or not he sexually assaulted that body. You know what I mean?
That's what I mean. They have no idea.
We don't know what happened.
No, he could have knocked her out, had sex with her, tossed her overboard.
Beat the shit out of her.
I think that's kind of what they assume.
Yeah.
It's one of those things, and they assume that's what the jury assumed, too.
I hope so.
Yeah, he probably did
Probably did some terrible stuff.
Oh, yeah. Why else? He had her out there for a reason.
Yeah.
So,
and if you did all of that, I'd cop to she fell overboard and I just kept going too, because that is so far from what really happened.
That's what I mean.
I'll gladly take the punishment for that versus
I dragged her up here and started humping on her.
Horrible shit to her.
Fucking ridiculous.
Unbelievable.
So the board here says they not only do his conduct during the killing was obscene, but his conduct since the slaying, because they've noted in the last 5 years he later mailed a blood-stained pillowcase to the prosecutor of the case. I guess here's my blood, test it. I don't know. So he mailed him a blood-stained pillowcase, then went on to sue the prosecutor. Then he sued the lead investigator and 2 witnesses as well as his former attorney.
What's he doing all this for?
I don't know. He's mad. He's going to be mad at us too. Fuck him.
He's going to sue everybody?
Sue them all, goddammit. Now, the assistant district attorney speaks against his release on behalf of, the whole county and state, basically. Brailsford's Martha's twin sister.
She's got a twin.
She's got a twin. She's got an identical twin. I believe she's identical. Muriel. Muriel says that Thomas needs to stay locked up. Yeah. She says, quote, I believe Mr. Maoni is the same, Maoni is the same person today that he was when he brutally sent her to death. And denied parole number 2. Also in 2012, a book comes out, another one, a book called Counterpoint, A Murder in Massachusetts. And it's by Margaret Press, and also Joan Pinkham is back to
rewrite
this one. Yeah. Going to rewrite it up this time.
Counterpoint, James, like the boat.
Like the boat.
That's ridiculous.
That's the name, babe. October 16th. October 2016 is parole attempt number 3. Okay, this is interesting now. This is the 3rd time that the poor Brian Brailsford and her family have had to
relive the whole goddamn thing.
Go sit there. It's been 25 years now of just this asshole, of having to see this asshole. So Thomas, now he's got a new story. Now he's blaming Martha. Now it's her fault that this happened. He claims now he's got a totally new story. Just what I said before, scratch that. My bad. Now this is what really happened. I'm finally out of my funk of fantasy PTSD land. Now I can tell you what happened. He says, first of all, it would be impossible to make sexual advances on someone on a boat in a busy place like Salem Harbor. So obviously I didn't do that, he says. Then he goes on to say that he, quote, he concedes that risky behavior was at play. That's what he says. So now he's trying to say that, everybody knew what was going on. He shifts his story again after that, because that implies that both parties knew what was up. Okay. Then he shifts his story saying that Martha was not a sexual interest, but it was just his crew for the day. This is what he says. She's just my crew. I wasn't trying to fuck her. It was an accident. This is ridiculous. It's crazy. He gives a lengthy opening statement where he expressed remorse. He says that he's sorry for his behavior and claims he suffers from not PTSD now it's survivor's guilt.
Oh boy.
Survivor's guilt. Like people who survived the Holocaust or a plane crash
or a school shooting,
fucking horrible thing like that. Or when you murder someone, how did I survive? And they die. It's almost like someone killed her on purpose and not me, and no one killed me on purpose. Wow. He admitted that he told people that his wife had died of cancer. He admitted he had years of lying and deception. He says he told people his wife died of cancer because he, quote, could not deal with the pain and embarrassment after his first marriage broke up. Just couldn't deal with it. Well, once you have a second marriage, doesn't matter. Once you're on your fourth, the pain and shame should be gone by now. You know what I'm saying?
How does he think this? There's no way this works, right?
Well, a board member questions him as why they should believe his account of the events. And, they said, the board member said, I think you're dishonest. I agree with the former, the board's findings before. He responded that he's getting help, that he's working on getting the help he needs to, quote, get the answers as part of his treatment plan. He was asked the events that transpired on the day of the murder. He said that he was married to his fourth wife. She had gone to visit her sister out of state, and he said that he and Martha were not engaged in any sort of tryst, nor did he have romantic intentions. When asked if he had previously taken women out on the boat to make advances toward them, he said, quote, I had an unselfish concern for a lot of people, and a lot of people came into my life. Women, men, and women. I engaged in relationships with them. Not sexual, not romantic. So he's saying he was mentoring these poor women. That's literally what he said.
Trying to show them what it's like on a boat.
I had an unselfish concern for a lot. I'm just too good. That's the problem. I wouldn't be in prison if I wasn't such a fucking good guy. Look at my penis. Wow.
David Jones, giant squid.
David Jones, giant squid. Fuck.
He just wanted to show him the brilliance with which that trilogy is created.
That's what he did. He's like, come on board. I'm going to show you a giant squid.
Keira
Knightley, Jack Sparrow. So he says also that he believed that Martha's husband would be joining them that day, and he had second thoughts about taking Martha out on the boat when she showed up alone. He was like, oh, boy, I thought the husband was coming. He said that she convinced him that her husband knew where she was, and it's fine. It's all good. So he was like, okay, I guess if you say it's all right, because he wasn't going to push it. He then said that he and Martha sailed the local waters. He had plans to meet some of his friends who'd be on another boat that day. This is some kind of life these people live. Jesus Christ. He said that his friends had been late showing up, and that at 8:30 p.m., Thomas and Martha decided to sail home. He said it's at that point they were in Gloucester, and that's the time where he made a decision to transition from sail power to auxiliary diesel power. Now it's the other way. Before he was powering down, now he's powering up. He says that Martha went up to the deck to retrieve the main sail, and a wave hit the boat, sending her airborne. That would be a big fucking wave.
It's gotta be
I've
enormous.
been on boats, dude. Yeah. Waves don't send grown people airborne. No. They just don't. No. It's one of those things. If you're on the ocean and there's a storm, it's one thing. But if you're out,
a random ass wave,
unless it's that kind of day, it's not that kind of day. You don't just get one wave of chop like that. And also, by the way, her father, it was like knows everything about boats. He's like a harbor master, all his shit.
I've never seen one
He
before.
even testifies that doesn't exist. Rogue waves. They bring in several like nautical experts to say, yeah, it's not a thing that happens. Just shoots adults off the boat. That doesn't happen all the time. People would be flying off boats left. No one would go boating. It'd be the most dangerous thing in the world.
There'd never be a Navy member.
No,
ever. We would never have a Navy.
By the time we got anywhere, 3/4 of them be in the ocean, just flying off this wave from the wave.
Boats would be empty.
How do we sail with no waves?
We would only have submarines.
Yeah. So he said that she went up to the deck to retrieve the main sail. A wave hit the boat, sent her airborne. He says that she landed on all fours on the deck. He claims he didn't attack her at all, and that she was not even injured on the boat. He said that she was subsequently ejected from the boat when a second wave hit.
Yeah.
So she's on all fours. Another wave hit. He's fine through all this, but she is being thrown into the air, then shot from her knees 3 feet through the air, over a wall into the ocean.
Well, it would do
but
that
he's
to him
fine.
Too. It's because his penis was tangled in the wheel of the boat.
He anchored himself with his penis. He put the anchor. He ties it to his penis. That's the thing.
Held him firmly.
Yeah. He then said that he went into, quote, recovery mode, like a computer apparently, making efforts to bring her back to the boat. He says in his estimate, it took him about 15 minutes to recover Martha from the ocean after she fell in. She's unconscious. She wasn't breathing. When she got back on the boat, he attempted CPR, yada, yada. When asked how long it was that this whole thing happened, they said, how long was he on the boat with her between the time that she died and the point when he dropped her body into the ocean?
Yeah.
He said 7 hours.
7 hours.
He just hung out with a dead body the whole time and then said, I guess I'll dump her overboard.
The other question is 15 minutes that it took you to get her in the boat. It should take you 7 seconds to jump off that boat.
And then radio the Coast Guard immediately.
Swim right the fuck back call.
That's it. That should be, I don't know, 15 seconds?
Yeah.
7 minutes it would be long?
2 minutes should be
7
all it
hours
takes.
is insane.
7 hours is nuts.
They ask him, why'd you tell people your wife died of cancer? He says, that was private conversations that are taken out of context. That's his answer. Yeah, I'm trying to get pussy and I'm lying.
Right.
Calm down.
What have you said to women for
Chill
a
out,
blowjob,
man.
sir?
Yeah, that's Jesus Christ. So they talk about
I've said things like this tastes like pineapple.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. He says that he claims that the accounts that the women testified for at trial were concocted by the prosecutor who coached them to testify to these stories. He said, quote, where's the sex?
Yeah.
Well, they didn't want to fuck you, so nowhere. Yeah. You need no, you didn't have sex with them because they said, you're gross, take me back to shore, your dick is out. I don't like this. So now he claims that the Roe v. Wade knocked her off and all this type of shit. He went on to say that he thought in his mind, that Brian, her husband, would have been out on a boat with a, quote, flotilla because he insisted Martha had told him that her husband knew where he was. So if his own wife had gone missing, I would have looked for her. Now he tried to blame Brian too.
Why didn't he get out there?
I mean, she said she told him so. I mean, I think it's honestly his fault for not looking for her. Right. That's what it is.
It wouldn't matter. She's at the bottom of the fucking ocean.
Yeah. He claimed to be suffering from all this trauma. He also claims that for the first time that he left her, this is the first time he's ever said this. He said that he left her watch there off the coast of Gloucester. Quote, I left it there as proof of the timeline. That's what she said. That's what he said, which makes no sense. He won't admit guilt, though, at all. He says, quote, I would like the family to know I accept full responsibility for my actions. I feel, he says, quote, I feel their rancor and anger directed toward me. It's good. I've had losses in my life and death, and I understand it fully. Everyone is entitled to their opinions, and I respect that. Wow. God damn it. I'd love Brian just to be able to pop him right in the mouth one time.
You're
right in his fat forehead.
To your opinion.
Pow! One good shot in the fat forehead from Brian, man. Whoa, that's annoying. People were frustrated. One board member, when he was done, called him offensive and insulting, and another one called it disgusting, what he just said. One, Charlene Bonner, who's on the board, said, quote, I'm afraid to ask any questions. I think it's an exercise in futility. I think you're a fucking liar. He kept avoiding the question of describe what you did in 7 hours by saying, quote, I'm getting to that. And then all he would do was offer an elaborate account of plans to meet a couple friends on their boat and switching the motor and all that type of shit. And they kept saying, the Bonner, Charlene Bonner kept saying, what happened? Yeah. Well, what happened? And he never had an answer.
James, what if he... Oh, Jesus. What if he fucked with that body for 7 hours?
7 hours he had. That's what I mean.
Oh, my God.
Who knows what he was doing for 7 hours? It's disgusting.
I'm getting to it. I can't say it out loud.
I can't say it out loud. It's gross.
I feel like a piece of garbage for that.
Finally, the chairman voiced his frustration, saying, quote, I've been sitting here for over an hour and I still have no idea why you appeared for a hearing. I still have no idea what the facts are. I think you're incapable of telling the truth. He says it's called his shit, quote, incredulous, fantastical stories that are offensive and insulting. He also insists that he could not offer his version of the events. That's why he's avoiding the question, because of a mandate from the First Circuit Court of Appeals, which upheld the dismissal of his latest federal appeal. And he said that they think that he misunderstood the legal language as some sort of gag on him. But he said he took issue with the official version of events and everything like that. He took shots at the board's former chairman while trying to get parole. Like, thank God that asshole's gone, right, everybody? Yeah. Now you'll work out.
The guy's like, that's my brother.
Yeah. He even, he wrote to the district attorney's office, asked the prosecutor that they remove any sexual references from the official version of the trial transcripts, and they said no. And then Finally, here, after all this, they call him very hostile. The one guy says, it appears you're trying to portray yourself as the victim. He says during his incarceration, he's done programs, Correctional Recovery Academy, anger management, alternative to violence program. He says he was participating in the sex offender treatment program, even though he doesn't believe he's a sex offender. He says he doesn't see himself as one, but that he's enduring it and committed to treatment. He acknowledged that his crime has sexual overtones, but he says that Martha's body was nude when he disposed of her remains, and he says that dressing those overtones, he's responsible for that, but he didn't have sex with her. Okay. So I might have got her nude and threw her overboard, but didn't have sex with her.
Doth do protest too much.
He did not have any supporters in the hearing. In his opening statement, he said that he did not invite anyone to attend. Meanwhile, Martha's husband, family, friends, and family were all there to testify in opposition to him being granted parole, as well as the prosecutors, everything like that. He says that he hadn't planned to speak during the hearing, but this is Brian, the husband. So he didn't plan to speak, but the bullshit this guy is speaking has made me have to fucking say fuck that. He says, quote, I'm sure the board realizes Tom has come up with yet another version. Tom should definitely be in prison for the rest of his life. It's tough coming here every 5 years. They go, you're right, denied. Fuck this guy. Back to jail with you. He keeps working on his appeals until October 19th, 2017, when he is suffering from a chronic illness and dies at the Beth Israel Deaconess Medical Center in Boston.
Choking on bullshit?
Yep. He is buried with his erect penis at half-mast.
They
needed a curved coffin for him. But he is fucking dead finally. Good. So, yay!
He died in prison.
So, Brian, I'm sure I went...
Thank God.
Okay.
Never have to do that ever again.
That chapter, at least, I can put behind me and not have to look at that asshole and hear him be full of shit in public again.
And blame me.
And blame my wife for it. Yeah, blame my wife for trying to help him and be a nice person.
Bastard.
Son of a bitch. So that, my friends, is Salem, Massachusetts. Yeah. That, well, the other thing, too, we can tell one thing. Yeah. She's definitely not a witch.
Yeah. Certainly.
She drowned.
Yeah.
She's not a witch.
Right.
Which is
that's the thing. Otherwise,
we made no references the whole time, so we had to there. Right. So anyway, if you enjoyed that show, very easy to tell us about it. Get on Apple Podcasts, that purple icon. Give us 5 stars. Doesn't matter what you say. Say you're following instructions. Say you're following directions. Say they're forcing me to do this. It's very dark in here and I can't breathe. That's fine also. Yeah. It doesn't matter. Head over to shutupandgivememurder.com. All sorts of new merchandise up there. Information. Also, info, crime and sports. Listen to the Crime and Sports podcast. If you do not, I'm telling you guys, you do not have to like sports at all. You really don't. It's us making fun of an asshole for like 2.5 hours. You're going to like it if you like this. So check out Crime and Sports. Get your tickets to live shows. Denver and Salt Lake are sold out in early February, but February 15th and 16th, Indianapolis, Indiana, and Louisville, Kentucky. We will be there at the Egyptian and the Baumhard theaters, respectively. March 13th and 14th, we're in San Francisco. 2 late shows at Cobb's Comedy Theater. It's an awesome venue, too. It's right down by Fisherman's Wharf. Very cool place.
Really is.
Come party with us late, because we'll be having fun that day. March 27th in Detroit, 28th in Cincinnati, and then the whole rest of the tour after that. Get your tickets now. Boston, I guess there's a few more tickets they have there.
Really?
Apparently there's some singles. I don't know. Check out Boston if you're looking for tickets. I don't know. I think you can get a couple right now. And get your tickets for New York in May, because they're going fast too.
Yeah.
Also, that second Portland show is almost sold out. So the second Portland show, if you want to make it, get to that right now. Lots of fun there to be had.
Thank you guys so much for snatching those up. Thank you for supporting the live shows. They're so much fun, and I promise you guys we're going to have a great time.
We'll give it our all. That's no fucking doubt about that. We will throw down. If you want to get a hold of us on social media so you can find out about things before we say them on the show, you can do that very easily. Also, you can follow us at Murder Small on Twitter, at Smalltown Pod on Facebook, and at Smalltown Murder on Instagram. You can do that, or just email us at, which is crimeandsports@gmail.com.
There you go.
Like, that's not how you say email addresses. That's not how that shit works. If you want to be a producer, one of our heroes, these people are our heroes. We're going to talk about it, and wait till you hear how we discuss them. Trust me, they're heroic to us. Our Patreon people and our PayPal people, if you want to be one of those people, our producer, very easy to do that. Head over to patreon.com/crimeandsports, or go over to PayPal and use our email address, crimeandsports@gmail.com, and you can very easily do that. And we're going to have lots of Patreon bonuses. I think next week we're going to do a Patreon bonus for Small Town Murder. I'm going to do an episode. It'll be fun stuff. Kind of those Patreon ones are ones that are a little too short for the main show, but stories are so crazy that, God damn it, we need to tell the story.
We got to say it.
Yeah, I have a story. A woman tried her own cremation, we'll just say, and it didn't work out. An indoor. It's hilarious. So it's a crazy story. We'll get to that shit, but do that. That's at the $5 level. And without further ado, I can't take it anymore, Jimmy. Please hit me with these people. I need you to hit me with the people who we love and who are going to get to hear really funny episodes. Hit me with them, Jimmy.
This week's executive producers are Cameron Kushwara. The Brain Damage Enthusiast Fantasy Football League wrapped up, and the winners were some other teams that I didn't write those down, to be honest with you. I'm full disclosure around here.
I like it.
Other executive producers are Karen Porciello, that Harley Davidson, the one that sounds like somebody named her Harley Davidson. They didn't name her that. That's actually her married name. So she used to be something else. Adrian Thomas, and she said go Niners, obviously, because her old man works.
Yeah, we love her. She's great.
Tanya Volanek, and I'm rooting on him too. So
me too. They got an Italian quarterback, so I'm rooting on him. And I like Mahomes. Mahomes is great, but
it's fine.
I'm getting a guinea quarterback to win here. I want that.
I just want the Niners to win. Jordan Bennett, and then Shannon Russell, obviously. Thank you guys so much for everything you do for us. We can't thank you enough. Other producers this week are Mikkel Kennedy, Marianne and Jeff Aiken, Michael Haven, Haven, Logan Henneman, Becky Estes, Melissa Winkler, Meredith King, Joel Okumu, Jenny Smith, Jennifer Hanley, Taylor Seaman. That's unfortunate. Kaylee Stillions.
She's happy with it.
She's thrilled.
She's fine. Leave her alone.
Kaylee Stillions, and that's her maiden name. I forgot to write down her married name. Sorry, Kaylee. That's my mistake. Kelly with no last name. Julia Hardenberger. Yeah. Is that Hamburger? No, that is definitely
We'll go with Harden.
Peter Cantor. That's what that is. Matthew Carl Johan Larson. David Tuzolo, Doug Fay, Brooke Kale, Victoria with no last name, Ashley Rowland, Luke Benfield, Marcy or Marchie. It could be a guy. It's probably Marcy, right?
Marcy.
Right.
Marci.
Yes. Yeah, Bromus. Daniel Arthurs, Matt Owens, Michelle Stevens, Alexis Westerhouse, Brittany Gore, Lori Joseph, Courtney Teeteralt, Caspa Pouncey, Kayla Beach, Courtney Alicia Campbell, Amanda McConnell, Emma Anderson, Eric Darnell, Mel Jays. Yes. Okay, refocus. I feel like I've had a bunch of cocaine. I'm trying. Jesse Pitts, Hannah Brock, Melissa Chapman, Melissa Butler, Nathan Nolte, Janine Cladd, Jennifer McIntosh, Katie Lundquist, Kelly Peterson, Maddie Garrett, Megan Boris, that's it. Jerobert Green. Is that what I wrote? Amanda Hirsch, Dustin Locke, Dwayne Rice. Sorry, Dwayne. Evan Van de Vender.
Yeah,
yep.
Him too.
Christian Cobra. That's the coolest fucking name.
That's a cool name.
It's a wrestler, I think. I don't know.
I hope so. He should be if he's not. Jesus.
Or she. Christian. I don't know what it is.
Christian Cobra.
That's badass.
That's a name.
Gleanna.
Cobra.
Gleanna Tompkins.
Take your shirt off. Put these overalls on.
Brittany Francibus. What is that? Franciscus? Franciscus. Got it.
What is happening?
We're not even close.
No, Tyler Baldwin, Lindsay Martin. Oh, the Samsonite. I got it.
There you go.
Right. Lindsay Martin, Nicole Curtis, Tater Nuts. Tater Nuts Fleming. That's legit. That's really what I wrote down.
That's beautiful.
Tyler Nussbomber. Rebecca Wards.
Not Brent Musburger.
No. Rebecca Worlds. What did I do? Woods. Okay.
You are fucking struggling this
Ariana
week.
with no last name. John McCarthy. I don't know why I wrote these so small. I don't write like this. What did I do?
Hey, what are you? It's one name per line. No matter what, you're going to squeeze extras in there. What are you doing?
Abriana Van Hoos, Montana Keeg, Luis Dominguez, TJ McCullum, Shelly Skillern, Haley Irwin, Ashley. I'm not doing this again like this. Ashley Conrad, Jeanette Selfin, Jason Ventry, Melissa Rowler, Adrian Ramey, Elise Pantino, I think, Mike Johnson. Home stretch, and I wrote this one bigger. Bobby Martin, David Carrington, Clay Thorson, who sent us an unbelievable gift. Thank you, Clay. You're a fucking hero. Gerald Fleming, Jeremiah Manchester, Michael Bretz, Thomas Smith, Jamma Gilbertson, Tasha Watson, Cody Cromie, Patrick Lau, Augustine Martinez, Desiree Norman, Janice Hill, Sydney Steele, Sarah Acosta, Dina Grimes, April Moreno, Dylan Irish, Amanda Knight, L'Oreal Mitchell. That is fucking L'Oreal and Paul Mitchell marrying.
Hey.
Devin Holdsworth. Lisa Dunton donated for her mom, Ann Dunton, who passed away just like 2 months ago.
Oh, we're sorry
I'm
about
so
that.
sorry.
Thank you so much.
Keith Foster donated both ways. Thanks, Keith. Ashley Vio, Jennifer Plague, I think, Plagy, Devin Holdsworth, Haley Garina, Gary Howard. Thank you very much, Gary. He started a podcast, too. Good for him.
Appreciate you, Gary.
John Betancourt, Jamie Knight, Douglas Cordy, Alicia Oakden, Ronnie Kumar, James LaRussa, Stephanie Mears, Lindsay Powis, Sonny Johansson, Andrea Strapulos, Andrea Calkins also, Tamika Fain Lovett, Corbin Brown, Amanda Rutherford, Kristen with no last name, Courtney Brand, Caitlin Ballantyne, Jackie Sukup, Kate Graham, Amanda Cassidy, Krista Walker, Jesse Hartman, Robin Anderson, James Martyr, Kevin Coffey, Dan Perry and Aaron Perry, right? Yes.
Okay.
I think so. Susanna Platt, Rosamund Gatt, Iron Tree Craftworks, that's Andrew Ebel, Jeff Rash, Kelly Higby, Peyton Meadows, Ben Saulnier, Douglas Porter, Reagan Shelkley, John Rogers, Autumn Uplinger, and Jude Kendall. Thank you guys so much for everything that you do.
Thank you.
And there's a guy with a kid in the fucking ICU, man.
Jesus
and
Christ.
it's brutal. But we donated to him. His GoFundMe is up on my page if you want to take a look at it. Thank you guys so much for everything you do. Go get him, Jackson. Kick its ass.
Thank you, everybody, from the bottom of our hearts, man. You guys are awesome. Thank you for keeping our show alive and kicking and going and supporting everything we do, supporting the live shows, Patreon, everything. You guys even are enthusiastic about getting products from our sponsors because you want to support the show. And thank you for doing that. You guys are just the best. What if someone wanted to tell you were the best, Jimmy? How
you can support me at Whisman Sucks, WHISMAN Sucks on Twitter, Instagram, and Snapchat. And I truly appreciate all of it, you guys. Thank you. Where can they find you?
You can find me at Jimmy P is Funny, or you can just copy and paste my last name from the show description, or first and last name would probably be helpful, and do it that way. Save yourself some misspellings. Either way, do that. Follow us. Keep coming back every single damn week because we're not going to go anywhere.
No, we
can't go anywhere. Right. Yeah. And with that said, until next week, everybody, it's been our pleasure.
Bye.
If you like Small Town Murder, you can listen early and ad-free now by joining Wondery Plus in the Wondery app or on Apple Podcasts. Prime members can listen early and ad-free on Amazon Music. Before you go, tell us about yourself by filling out a short survey at Wondery.com/survey.
He was hip-hop's biggest mogul, the man who redefined fame, fortune, and the music industry. The first male rapper to be honored on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, Sean Diddy Combs.
Diddy built an empire and lived a life most people only dream about.
Everybody know ain't no party like a Diddy party, so.
Yeah, that's what's up.
But just as quickly as his empire rose, it came crashing down.
Today I'm announcing the unsealing of a 3-count indictment, charging Sean Combs with racketeering conspiracy, sex trafficking, interstate transportation for prostitution.
I was up. I hit rock bottom, but I made no excuses. I'm disgusted. I'm so sorry.
Until you're wearing an orange jumpsuit, it's not real. Now it's real.
From his meteoric rise to his shocking fall from grace, from law and crime, this is the rise and fall of Diddy. Listen to the rise and fall of Diddy exclusively with Wondery Plus